they say winning inspires more winning, and last night's Rangers victory was encouraging. Between Matt Harrison's strong start and Jin-Soo Choo's best game as a Ranger, those performances were inspirational. The win leaves the Rangers poised to take another road series when they meet the Colorado Rockies next. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Uburst TV. Partly cloudy skies overhead and over the Rockies on the eastern slopes. Rangers getting set to take on the Colorado Rockies and finish up this three-game series. And welcome in, everyone, along with Mark McLemore, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this matinee of Ranger baseball. Rangers trying to make it 2 in a row and win a series on this road trip. They lost 2 out of 3 in Houston, trying to even up the series with a win here today over the Rockies. And they send Martin Perez out for his second start of the year. Martin, of course, pitched well in his last start against Arizona, but came up empty in that, I should say, against Houston. Came up empty in that one, but he threw the ball well. A lot of encouraging signs. He'll try to continue that streak today against the Colorado Rockies. And, Mac, the Rockies are a team that has been having a lot of problems this year against left-handed pitchers.
Yeah, they have had a lot of trouble against left-handed pitching, and we saw a little bit of that last night with Matt Harrison shutting them down. And you look at the record here, 5-15 against left-handed pitching and 35-37 against right-handed pitching. You look at the team batting average of 257 against lefties, against that 276 versus righties. Home runs, 9 out of 100 home runs off of left-handed pitching, and the slugging percentage is .353 as opposed to .458 against right-handed pitching. So hopefully Martin Perez will be able to add to those numbers and that difficulty that the Rockies have facing left-handed pitchers.
And Martin looking to continue the good health that he enjoyed too, and has enjoyed throughout his rehab assignments. So it'll be his second start today. He'll lead the Rangers against the Rockies, looking to make it 2 out of 3 here at Coors Field. We'll be back with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer to kick off the summer right. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, a beautiful Wednesday afternoon here in Denver, Colorado. A beautiful summer's day. Some puffy white clouds overhead, but no threat of rain in the immediate future. Rangers and Rockies getting set to wrap up this 3-game series. Before we get things underway, let's head down to the field and check in with John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, Delino DeShields has found a home, a great spot as the leadoff hitter for this ball club. Really, for the past couple of months when he's not been hurt, he has been the leadoff hitter. The team has noticed a difference with him as a spark plug at the top of the order. And today, Jeff Bannister was asked how he likes his leadoff hitter. He says DeShields gets better every day. Delino, a little less effusive, a little more modest in his appraisal, but likes where he's headed.
I feel like the more reps I get in the leadoff position, the more comfortable I get. And, I have a better understanding of it now than I did, obviously, when I first started. So, the more I'm in that role, the more comfortable I get, the more of an understanding I have and importance of that leadoff role. And, I take it very seriously.
Says he did wake up with just a little bit of frustration that he didn't come through with the cycle last night, I should say. It could be worse. Last year he was a single away from a cycle. He came up for his last at-bat and hit a home run. So he didn't get that cycle either. Hey, it's almost time for the lineups in the first pitch from Coors Field on a beautiful day in Colorado. It's the Rangers and the Rockies. Game 3 coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest.
Broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world and on land and on ships at sea. Welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for your service. Well, the Rockies taking the field here on a bright, sunshiny afternoon at Coors Field. The Rangers and Rockies have split the first 2 games of this 3-game series. And Mark McLemore is going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers starting lineup.
All right, leading off for the Rangers, Lionel DeShields will be in center field. Rougned Odor will bat second and play second. Adrian Beltre is the third baseman. He'll bat third. Mitch Moreland in the cleanup spot tonight, and he'll play first base. Josh Hamilton will be in left and bat fifth. Elvis Andrews will be the shortstop and hit sixth. Shin-Soo Choo will hit seventh and play right field. Robinson Chirinos will do the catching, and Martin Perez will bat ninth.
And that lineup put forth by Jeff Bannister is going to face the 34-year-old left-hander Jorge De La Rosa. Rosa's had very good success over the years in this ballpark. Twice, he has been a 16-game winner for the Colorado Rockies. His secret? He changes speeds very effectively. Keeps the ball down in the strike zone and has a pretty good fastball and a lot of sink to it. A curveball, a good changeup. He's able to change speeds on all those, so he'll have 6 or 7 different looks for hitters to have to worry about. Different speeds on the breaking ball. Also, whether it be a left-hander or a right-handed hitter, he will adjust accordingly. So De La Rosa has found the secret to success in this ballpark. Maybe not this year. His ERA is a little bit higher, but overall, he has been very, very effective here in a tough pitcher's ballpark at Coors Field. We will take a look at the defense behind De La Rosa here this afternoon. Brandon Barnes in left field. Drew Stubbs gets the start in center. Carlos Gonzalez back in the lineup. He is in right field. Willeen Rosario is at first. DJ LeMahieu at second. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop. Nolan Arredondo is at third. And Nick Gunley behind the plate. So the Rockies come in having split the first 2 games. Colorado still in 5th place in the National League West. They are 11.5 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. And a great day for sunscreen in the sunny climes, the high altitude of Denver. You can really get a burn in a hurry up here. And folks, very well advised to use that extra sunscreen. The Rangers still trailing the Angels, whom they will play next, by 9 full games in the American League West. Where the Angels are on fire. They have been the hottest team in baseball for the last couple of weeks, winning 6 in a row. Rangers hope that the Twins will kind of cool them down a little bit before Texas gets in there on Friday night. Here's Delino DeShields to start things off, and the first pitch from Jorge De La Rosa is high for ball 1. Delino had 4-hit game last night, 4 for 6. Got his batting average up some 13 points with that effort last night. And ball 2 is down and away. Rangers, as we mentioned, 17 hits last night. That was the most hits they had since a season-high 19 hits back on June the 2nd against the White Sox. And Jeff Bannister appeared to be pretty relieved. Maybe not unexpectedly so. Nice to see the bats break out. There's a strike, 2-1.
Yeah, it's always nice to have 17 hits and win a ball game.
Dave Maganin also in a better mood after his hitters showed up.
Yeah, I think that puts everybody in a much better mood when you can do that and get the pitching that they got as well.
Yeah. 2-1. A bunt. It's pushed, and it's a good one. Off the mound is De La Rosa. There's nothing he can do. And Delino DeShields, who was tied with Leonis Martin for the league lead in bunt base hits, now assumes that role all by himself. A leadoff bunt single, and that is his 7th of the year.
That's a great bunt by DeShields. He's trying to push it that way, so whether the pitcher gets that ball or the first baseman comes to get it, it's going to be a difficult play, especially for a left-handed pitcher going that way. If he fields this ball, he really doesn't have to play. He's either got to do a backhand flip, which probably isn't going to get there in time, or spin, which is going to be even worse. So perfect placement by Delino DeShields.
Well, DeShields leading off as he did yesterday, getting on base. Yesterday was a check swing double. Today it's a bunt single. Rougned Odor, big night last night himself, a couple of doubles, a .258 average. And he's going to drag a bunt. This is going to be a tough one. It's a base hit for Odor, as Rosario couldn't handle the bunt. He was going to feed De La Rosa covering. I don't think De La Rosa was going to beat Odor to the bag. No,
De La Rosa is a left-handed pitcher, so he's falling towards the third base side of the diamond. So for him to fall that way and then try and get back over there, especially with Odor, who can run, and he's on the left side, it makes it very difficult for that pitcher to cover there. I think the best play that Rosario had was to try to go to second and maybe get DeShields going to second base, but he was thinking he was going to try and flip it back to De La Rosa coming across the diamond there, but no play either way. So great start for the Rangers.
So the Texas Roadrunners showed up here today, this afternoon, and the first 2 on base with great speed. Now the middle of the order, Adrian Beltre moving up to the 3rd slot as Prince Fielder gets the afternoon off, at least at the start of things. Nice to have Prince on your bench in case you need a left-handed hitter late in the ball game.
Yeah, that's a pretty good bat to have. Ready to go. It's kind of strange seeing him over there.
It is. It is. Just the third game that he has not started this year. But Beltre, a .258 average. Very capable of handling that third roll. Adrian's thinking about bunt. I don't think he was seriously about it. But
I don't think there's anybody in the game that has more fun than AB out there.
Kind of a wry little smile as he looked down to Arenado at third. So, yeah, I might try it. You never know. I don't think Arenado's buying it.
Nah.
1 ball and no strikes. Beltre, 7 home runs, 25 driven in as he takes inside for ball 2. Adrian took an over last night, 0 for 4, although he hit the ball hard 3 of the 4 times that he came to the plate. Did draw a walk. His last 9 ball games, Beltre, a .351 average. He's got Delano DeShields in scoring position with nobody out here in the top of the first. The inside corner for a strike. 2-1. De La Rosa, the 34-year-old from Monterrey, Mexico, originally signed by the Arizona Diamondbacks out of the Mexican League. Got caught in all kinds of controversy. That was back in 1998. Diamondbacks signed him. De La Rosa stepping off. They're going to call a balk. De La Rosa started to move before he broke contact with the rubber. Now, home plate umpire Dan Bellino is going to go out and say, "I called time." And you know, when the home plate umpire says that, and I don't doubt that he thinks he did, but there's not a thing he can argue.
No,
the guy says I called time. I called time.
That's it. He's the one out there running it. So, AB must have called timeout or something. Rosario De La Rosa was taking a little bit extra time out there. But typically, when that home plate umpire calls times out, he'll throw his hands up, and everybody, you know, at the plate or in the box will move.
Yep.
But I didn't see any movement there.
And well, some umpires will immediately walk out from behind the catcher to one side or the other, so that everybody knows, even if there's a pitch thrown, the time was called.
Yeah, and I think you have to do that, because if you just stand there and say, you know, timeout, and no one moves, you've got the runners on base. People may not hear you.
Tom Hallion, the crew chief, started down from his position at third base to try and break up the discussion. Yeah, let's see if Dan Bellino did, in fact, call time. He's kind of standing up. And I didn't see him make a move that would indicate that he had called time.
I didn't either.
Dick Hundley got up and turned around to him as if to say, "Didn't you call time?"
Yeah, but typically, you know, you'll see that umpire throw those hands up. Nothing there that would indicate it. I mean, obviously we can't hear what was being said down there, but typically you see that home plate umpire or any umpire out there throw the hands up.
Well, 2-1 the count. We're back to play, and the pitch inside to Adrian. 3 balls and a strike. Well, Beltre with the count in his favor. 2 on, nobody out. Beltre hitting third. He'll be followed by Mitch Moreland. Rangers trying to get out in front early in this ball game. They had a 3 spot on the board in the second inning last night. Rangers, as most teams are, if you get ahead early, you have a much better winning percentage. And the pitch is low. That'll load him up for Mitch. Beltre draws the walk after a couple of bunt base hits. The bases are full. Moreland coming up. And Mitch had not played in this series, nor did he play in the last game of the Houston series. Left-handers on the mound in those instances. Yesterday with a right-hander, but National League rules, he had to get fielder on the field, so Mitch had to sit. And he's back in there today with fielder getting a couple of days off, with tomorrow's off day also. The Mitch steps in, the team leader with 16 home runs. He has driven in 46, hitting at .287. Mitch 3 out of 9 on this trip. Trying to put a crooked number up for the Rangers here in the first. Ball 1 is high.
You know, it's a tough decision that Bannister had to make. You got Prince Fielder, second in the league in hitting. You got Mitch Moreland, the team leader in home runs. One of them has to sit when you go to a National League park.
De La Rosa checking the runners. Moreland pounds one under the glove of Rosario to right field. One run is home. Odor coming in to score. On to third goes Beltre. Mitch Moreland with the 2-run single. The Rangers on top 2-0.
Moreland being aggressive. Getting a fastball out there in the zone. De La Rosa fell behind with the first pitch. Breaking ball out over the middle of the plate. And Mitch drills it past Rosario over at first base.
Well, Rosario, a converted catcher, and the book on him defensively is he's okay with the balls hit at him, but you have to go laterally at all. He's a little bit shaky, and I think you got an idea of him trying to go to the backhand, not his strong suit.
Yeah, it's not an easy conversion for a lot of people. Just because you're behind, you're a catcher doesn't mean you can play the corners. You see most catchers go to first base now, whereas it used to be they would, try him out at third base.
Right.
But you see a lot more of them going to first base. But that's a very, very difficult transition.
Well, still nobody out. Rangers jumping out in front 2-0. Moreland now with 48 runs driven in. He is at first. Beltre around to third. Here's Josh Hamilton. Little tapper back to the mound. The only play that De La Rosa will have is the first. Hamilton out. On to second goes Mitch Moreland. So Josh Hamilton, a weak little tapper back to the mound on the first pitch that he saw from De La Rosa for out number 1. No, Josh not able to get Beltre home from third. 1 out now. We'll see if Elvis can get the job done. Runners at second and third. Elvis, a .246 average. 3 home runs, 30 RBI. Elvis, one of the hotter hitters going. The Rangers on this trip have hit well. They have hit over 300. And a drive to right center field. Gonzalez makes the catch. Beltre tags. Here comes the throw. It's cut off. And Beltre sliding in with the 3rd run of the inning. Sacrifice fly by Elvis Andrus. It's a 3-0 Ranger lead. And it looked like De La Rosa was a little upset that ball was cut off by Rosario.
Yeah, the ball was on target. I don't think it would have gotten Beltre, but in that situation, you can let it go more. You've got Moreland held up at second base. He's really not going to advance. Gonzalez gets to it, gets lined up, makes a nice throw. It might have been a play at the plate, but I think Beltre would have made it anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. But it would have been interesting to see what would have happened had the throw gone through. And I think Jorge De La Rosa tried to figure out a way to get out of that without giving up another run. It didn't work. Shin-Soo Choo takes ball 1. Well, the Rangers 3 runs on 3 hits here in the first inning, plus a walk. Shin-Soo Choo, of course, we chronicled that cycle that he hit for last night, the first of his career, the 8th time that the Rangers have had a cycle by one of their players in club history. The swing and a miss, it's 1-1. Choo, the first Ranger to have a cycle since Alex Rios back in September of 2013. Choo 0 for 7 in his career against Jorge De La Rosa. Up the middle, that's a base hit by Tulowitzki. Around third, coming in to score Mitch Moreland. It's a 4-run first inning for the Rangers as Shin-Soo Choo continues to scorch the baseball. Another hit, another RBI.
Great job hitting by Choo. De La Rosa again out over the middle of the plate, down in the zone. Choo stays right on it. Drives that ball up the middle just past the glove of Tulowitzki, who's playing on the right side of second base. Another knock for Choo.
The first 3 hits he had last night were run-scoring hits. Has another one today. He is now 7 out of 9 since getting back into the lineup in this road trip. That qualifies as being hot.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what this lineup can do with Chu swinging the bat the way that he's capable of?
Yeah. Well, it would stretch it out. You know, if the Rangers get Chu going, and it looks like he's turned a corner here on this trip anyway, and get Hamilton giving representative at bats. Well, you're talking about 7 guys.
Wow.
In the lineup that can do some damage.
That's tremendous. And then it doesn't matter, you know, once those guys are going, it doesn't matter whether there's a left-hander out there or a right-hander. These aren't guys that have to be protected because there's a left-hander on the hill.
Well, Robinson Chirinos, the 8th hitter in the Ranger lineup, comes to bat here with Chu at first and 2 out. He takes a strike. 1-2. At the top of the strike zone, that last one, and maybe a little above. Chirinos at .220 with the average, 9 home runs, 29 driven in. Robinson starting to get on a pretty good offensive roll himself. He has been a .400 hitter in the last 7 ball games, as you can see, a home run and a couple of RBI. Of course, with Carlos Corporan on the shelf with that bad left thumb, Chirinos getting the majority of the reps behind home plate. Tomas Telis got the start here on Monday night. But other than that, it's been Robinson Chirinos behind the dish. Chirinos 4 out of 12 on this road trip. And he takes high and outside. Now the count is now full. And with 2 outs, Chu will be off and moving from first. Chirinos trying to get aboard, extend this first inning. The pitcher, Martin Perez. Glad to be in the on-deck circle here in the first inning.
That's always nice to see.
De La Rosa set, Chu on the move, payoff pitch. And we'll reset and try it again. The Rangers as a team coming into today had moved up to 251 with the average. That's the best it's been for Jeff Bannister's club since the last day of June. And on top of that, they're scoring runs to go along with it. Another payoff pitch, got him this time. So the first finally comes to an end, but the Rangers put 4 on the board. They have 4 hits and lead 1 after a half inning of play. Rangers 4, Rockies coming up. Wow. Now Martin Perez out to the hill, and Mac's going to tell you about the Rockies lineup that he will face.
All right, leading off for the Rockies, DJ LeMahieu will lead off and play second base. Carlos Gonzalez, the right fielder, will bat second. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, will bat third. Nolan Arenado will bat cleanup, play third base. Willen Rosario is the first baseman. He'll bat fifth. Drew Drew Stubbs, the center fielder, will bat 6th. And batting 7th, Nick Hundley, the catcher. Brandon Barnes will play left field and bat 8th. And Jorge De La Rosa, the pitcher, will bat 9th.
That's the 9 put out by Walt Weiss for this afternoon's ball game. They're facing the 24-year-old left-hander Martin Perez, the hard-throwing Venezuelan. Velocity is where it needs to be, where it was last time, 93, 94, sometimes 95. Now it's just up to him to kind of get the rust off of his execution. How well can he execute his game plan? And that's about it. Martin has followed the prescribed path back from Tommy John surgery. It's a well-trodden path, and it has proven to be successful for a lot of people. And it looks like the same thing can be said for Martin Perez. So he's going to go to work now with a 4-run advantage. DJ LeMahieu starts things off. And the first pitch is high for ball 1. LeMahieu moving up to take the leadoff spot from Charlie Blackmon. Blackmon was in the number 1 spot the first 2 ball games, but LeMahieu moving from second to first today. As Perez fires strike 1. It's an 83-degree afternoon. A little on the dry side, 23% humidity. Wind out of the southwest, and it's been variable, blowing out toward right field. Mayhew shoots a foul down the right side. Perez came back last time out against the Houston Astros. First time he'd been on a major league mound since May of 2014. Acquitted himself very well as far as how he threw the baseball. Didn't come away with a win, but threw the ball extremely well. The Rangers went down to defeat 3-2. That was the game that the Rangers had 15 hits and scored a grand total of 2 runs.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure that out. Just missed the outside corner. Changeup from Perez. 2-2 now to LeMahieu.
It was a great game for Perez, especially being his first game back. Anytime, starting pitcher goes out there, he gives up 3 runs, you feel like you've got a pretty good chance to win a ball game, especially with the type of the offense that the Rangers have.
And that pitch a little bit low, so it's a full count to LeMahieu. LeMahieu leading off Carlos Gonzalez, the right fielder, in the on-deck circle. Martin Perez reading the signs. Into the wind he goes. Payoff pitch. Low, ball 4. LeMahieu doing a pretty good job of leading a game off for the Rockies. Drew the walk, a lot of pitches that he saw. We'll take a look at the Ranger defense. It's delivered to you this afternoon by DeMontron RV. Ranger outfield has Hamilton in left. DeShields in center. Chu is in right. Marlin at first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Beltre at third. And Robinson Chirinos catching. So the leadoff walk has LeMahieu aboard. Here's Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez sat out last night's ball game. Steps in hitting .258, 13 home runs, 36 driven in. 1 ball, no strikes. And the early going, Martin, maybe forcing it a little bit. Looks like he's trying to make the adjustments, and sometimes you try a little too hard instead of just being able to relax yourself, slow things down, as the guys talked about, and let your natural mechanics and rhythm take over. Now the 1-0 to Gonzalez. Popped up, foul territory. Beltre sprinting over. He's at the railing, but it's back out of his reach.
When it started against Houston, I think he started off the same way, just having a little bit of trouble locating his pitches. But then once he honed in on everything, he really started to get into a groove and started to cruise a little bit.
Yeah, he walked Jose Altuve to start that game off, and then followed that up with a double play grounder, which helped him out. So he could use the same thing right here. LeMahieu at first. 1-1 the count to Gonzalez. Now 1-2. Even though that changeup was not down where Martin necessarily wanted it, just the off speed, and Gonzalez couldn't time it. Ranger infield pulled well around to the right side. Los Andrews, the shortstop, close to being right behind second base. 1-2 pitch. Odor to second. They get one. The return to first in time for the double play. Martin Perez, and last night, Matt Harrison, very adept at turning that ball over, getting the 2-ball, and the Rangers able to turn it 4-6-3.
That's a difficult double play to turn. You've got Odor playing over in the hole and deep. Gets it turned over to Elvis. Elvis with the strong throw over to Moreland to turn it. Great play by Odor. Nice strong throw over to Elvis. Back to first to complete the double play.
So that removes the leadoff Walker. DJ LeMahieu taking off the base pass. And Troy Tulowitzki comes up with the bases empty. First ball swinging, and Beltre will cut it off. On to first, the tag by Moreland on Tulowitzki going by. And it is a quick 1-2-3 inning after the double play. Rockies gone in the first. We've played one. Rangers 4, Rockies nothing. Visit TexasRangers.com/treasure chest. You get access to rarely available lower infield and premium infield tickets for select Yankees and Giants games in the upcoming homestand. Take that opportunity to get some great seats for what should be 7 great games against the Yankees and Giants. Well, Martin Perez to start things off here in the top of the second inning. And he takes strike one. First time that Martin has had an opportunity to hit. He is 0 for 6 in his career with 5 strikeouts. So far he has not been an offensive threat. Fouls that away to the left.
Well, I think he gets some points for fouling one off there.
He made contact. And he's going to hear about it too from Adrian Beltre. Looking at that smile on Adrian's face. 0-2 pitch.
Buzz, how excited do pitchers get when they know they're going to hit?
It's, like little kids on Christmas morning. It's kind of like that, except maybe a little more excited. 1-2. Yeah, and it's just like the old saying about every infielder and every outfielder thinks and knows that they can pitch. Every pitcher knows that he can hit.
Oh, yeah.
Until he tries to show it to everybody, and then he kind of sheepishly walk back, drop the bat. Got him swinging. De La Rosa gets his second strikeout. Martin gone. Back to the top of the order for Delino to Shields. Well, Delino started things off by pushing a bunt toward first base, and he beat everybody in the bag. Lino with his 7th bunt base hit of the year. And he now has that average up to 280. This on the heels of a 4-hit game last night. First ball swinging is popped up. Tulowitzki out. Barnes coming on. It's Brandon Barnes, the left fielder, to make the catch. That is out number 2. Well, Lino not wasting any time. He thought, well, I bunted the first time. Maybe I'll try and get that home run I missed last night.
Get it early.
Yeah. Now 2 outs, and Rougned Odor will step in. Odor, like DeShields, had a bunt base hit. Couldn't tell whether Odor was really thinking about a sacrifice that I may try to turn into a single, or bunting for a single, and if it doesn't work out, it's a sacrifice anyway.
Well, he pulled it with him, so I think he was thinking, the latter there. Let me try for a base hit, and if it doesn't work out, at least I get the runner to second base.
There you go.
That's the luxury of hitting in that 2 slot.
Odor in 19 games now, a 364 average. And that pitch misses down and away. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Rougned with that base hit up to 262. This is a guy that when he came back to the major leagues just over 5 weeks ago, was hitting 144. High in the air to deep right field. Gonzalez is watching this one go. Goodbye. From bunt single to towering home run, Rougned Odor, 2 for 2, and the Rangers lead it 5-0.
Rookie's been on fire since he came back, and that's what you were just saying, Buzz. From 144 to 262 now. That's a tremendous jump, especially with the at-bats that he had accumulated in that first month that he was here. He was probably close to about 100 at-bats. And once you get over 100 at-bats, it's very difficult to get your average to climb. You've got to get hot, obviously. And I don't even know if hot's the right word for Odor right now.
That is something. Rougned with his 2nd home run on this trip. Had one down in Houston, which really is no surprise. He seems like he homers there every series.
Catches one out over the middle of the plate and drills it.
Adrian Beltre takes low and inside.
No bat flip today. Just put it down.
There you go. One and 1 to Beltre. Adrian walked and scored in the first. He takes it high and away. 2 balls and a strike. The Rangers 4 in the first, 1 more here in the second. Beltre trying to get aboard to add on to that. Had a pitch up and fouled it straight back. 2-2. De La Rosa against the Rangers has not faced them prior to today here at Coors Field. He was 2-0 with an ERA of 3 in his previous starts. A little bit different here in the thin air of Denver, Colorado. And Beltre to right center field. Stubbs got a pretty good jump. He's going to run it down in the alley. And that will do it. But Rougned Odor gets the Rangers on the board again. His 6th home run of the year to the right field bleachers. 1.5 in the books. Rangers 5, Rockies 0. Southwest Data strong fan, and you might just find yourself on one of our upcoming broadcasts. That's all thanks to the good folks at T-Mobile. Well, the Rangers jumping out very quickly. 5-0 lead after an inning and a half. The Rockies come to bat here in the second. Nolan Arenado, Willeen Rosario, and Drew Stubbs will be the first three to face Martin Perez. Perez worked through a 12-pitch first inning. And after giving a 7-pitch walk to LeMahieu to start things, in the double play off Gonzalez bat. The easy ground out by Tulowitzki. Arenado, 291, 24 home runs, 72 driven in. Martin Perez with that changeup on the second pitch, ahead in the count, 0-2. Arenado, 2 out of 3 in last night's game, 3 out of 8 in this series. Lines one right at Moreland. Mitch stepped to his left and very quickly got that leather up. We're out number 1. Before Rosario steps in, let's check in with John Radigan. John?
Yeah, Buzz, as you know, I was at the top row in Houston 2 times. I've been at seats a mile high in this ballpark twice. I love this bleachers section, and I wanted to go to the top of it to give fans a perspective from up there, but after all those steps and climbing a mountain yesterday, the legs just won't answer the bell. I mean, Buzz and Mac, I could climb these steps, but my legs are so sore, I'm pretty sure my thighs would start bleeding if I climb. I climbed a mountain, for goodness sake.
Yes, you did. You were very effective. We don't want bloody hamstrings.
No, not at all.
Get you one of those signs of Pike Peak or bust. Well, that wasn't the mountain that John climbed right there, but it was one like it.
Any mountain's too high for me to climb.
Yeah. You understand, John is so hampered by the altitude and all the exertion that he's going to miss the last 3 games on this trip, and Jim Knox is going to fill in for him in Anaheim. John's going back for some R&R.
He's got to go back and get checked by Keith Meister. Get an MRI done on those hammies and knees.
So he's day-to-day? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, he's day-to-day.
Okay.
He's day-to-day.
All right. Willeen Rosario, count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a little tapper by the mound. Odor can't get the bare hand. And Rosario is going to be aboard with an infield single. Well, once it got by Martin Perez, it would have taken a miracle for Odor to be able to grab onto it and throw. He'd have to do the same motion.
A little tapper by Rosario just gets by Martin. And Odor coming in trying to barehand it. Just couldn't come up with it. That's going to be a tough play.
Now the first hit of the afternoon for the Rockies. 1 on, 1 out. Drew Stubbs now will come to the plate. Texas Longhorn X. Takes strike 1 for Martin Perez. Stubbs in last night's ballgame got the start in left field, went 1 for 4. He's had good numbers against Martin Perez. 3 out of 4 against him the times that he has faced Martin. Perez popping in that good fastball. It is 0-2. Now Martin, who walked the leadoff hitter DJ LeMahieu in the ballgame, has shown no signs in the 5 ensuing hitters of having any kind of command issue. He has gotten ahead of all of them. Been able to spot up his fastball and throw the changeup for strikes. Everything that I think you would say Martin needs to do to be a very quality major league pitcher. And this is a guy who, before he had the injury in 2014, got off to a 4-0 start. There's a little looper to right field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Rosario checking on his way to second base to see where the ball was and slowed down and didn't get a really good read on it, so he stops at second. Back-to-back soft singles have Rosario and Stubbs aboard for Nick Huntley.
Martin trying to go in on Stubbs. Stubbs already has 3 hits off of him in his career. He'll add another one there. Dunked that one out there in the right field.
And that's a case of Perez making a good pitch, but throwing the ball right where he wanted to, and Stubbs just getting a base hit. And that happens sometimes. A 2 on, 1 out. Nick Hundley hitting at an even 300 steps in. And lines one to center field. That's going to be a base hit. Rosario coming around third. DeShields thought about it and then threw the ball into Elvis. Rosario scores. Rockies are on the board. It's now a 5-1 Ranger lead. And again, a ball not hit all that sharply. Hundley off the end of the bat to center, but he gets the RBI single.
Well, Perez hitting the spots, going inside, outside. He's going back away here to Hundley. Just left it up just a little bit too much. Hundley hits this one off the end of the bat. It's 3 soft hits in a row. Produces a run for the Rockies.
No, a run across. Runner still at first and second. And Brandon Barnes, the left fielder, will step in. Barnes 2 out of 6 in the series, has a 7-game hitting streak coming into play today. 1 ball, no strikes. Barnes overall a .295 average. A home run, 10 driven in. He has been one of the hotter hitters for the Colorado Rockies. 2-0. Barnes in this 7-game hitting streak has gone 10 for 21. That's a .476 average. There are the numbers for you. A couple of RBI, 2 doubles out of the 10 hits. Batting with Stubbs at second, Hundley at first. A run across, 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Now, talking about situations like this, runners in scoring position, our Ford leaderboard shows you that the Rockies now are second in all of baseball to Toronto. .293 the team average, dropped down from the top spot after last night's game. And ball 3 misses down and away. Well, Martin Perez, after giving up 3 soft singles, has fallen behind the 8th hitter, Brandon Barnes. Jorge De La Rosa, as the opposing pitcher, is waiting in the on-deck circle. Perez, a belt high set, 3-0 pitch. 3-1. Martin trying to regroup mentally. Get himself back in that strike zone on a consistent basis. Got Stubbs at second, Hundley trailing him at first. 3-1 pitch coming to Barnes. Outside, ball 4. Barnes draws the walk. That's going to load the bases for De La Rosa, and it's also going to bring Mike Maddox out of the Ranger dugout for a little conference with his battery. Second walk for Perez this afternoon.
Perez looking a little frustrated. Trying to hit that spot down and away. Just kept missing. Not missing by much. I'd rather see him miss off the plate than to miss out over the plate, though.
Mike Maddox, a couple of quick jabs to the chest to emphasize a point. Hey, you're okay. Let's refocus here. You got the pitcher up, who is 2 for 27 this year. It's Jorge De La Rosa, and Jeff Bannister hoping that Mike Maddox's message is heeded by Martin Perez. Well, Perez pointing out to Elvis Andrus, the shortstop, say, hey, a ball back to me now. I've got you at second base. I'm going to throw it to you. De La Rosa, no home runs, 2 RBI this year. Trying to bunt, and bunts through it for strike one. Rangers have the corners playing up, and also moving in Odor, the second baseman, cheating in straight toward home plate. Almost impossible to get a bunt down where you can't get a force at the plate unless it's a straight squeeze play. That bunt is down, but it's into foul territory. Stubbs at third base has very good speed, so he would have the best opportunity to score, but all you need is a force. With the corner men coming down, it's not a whole lot of room to get a good bunt down.
No, it's tough even for a guy that goes out there and plays every day to get a bunt down when you've got corners in like that and they're expecting the bunt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 0-2 the count. Marlin and Beltre still playing up just in case the bunt is still on for De La Rosa. It is. He's around to bunt and bunts it foul. So that's going to be a strikeout. And it'll be the second out of the inning and take the Rockies back to the top of the order for DJ LeMahieu. Well, I guess Walt Weiss figured, well, the best chance I have is if he can get a bunt down, that's good. We got a shot at scoring. If not, the strikeout, at least it's not a double play.
Right, and I think that's really what he was thinking, trying to stay out of the double play. And, you know, if De La Rosa gets that bunt down, Stubbs can fly. Might have an opportunity to get a run there. But at least you get your leadoff man, you turn it over, get your leadoff man back up to the plate.
LeMahieu drew a walk starting off the ball game for the Rockies. DJ's still a .311 hitter. He has 36 runs driven in. He's got teammates at every base out there and takes just outside for ball one. LeMahieu with that 12-game hitting streak coming into play today. This on the heels of an 0-for-16 streak that he had been in. Going back to, it ended July 4th. That's when this 12-game hitting streak began. Changeup finds the outside corner, 1-1. You know, he talked about Shin-Soo Choo turning things around, going 7 for 9 after scuffling at the plate. And LeMahieu, I guess, would take that another step. It's been 12 games now since he broke an 0-for-16. He's hit over 400.
He's definitely gotten hot.
1-1 pitch to him. 2 balls and a strike. LeMahieu's .311 average overall is good for 9th in the National League. The numbers over that 12-game streak that he's had. Perez coming back, and the pitch fouled away to the right. That evens the count now at 2-2.
He's been doing some damage along in this streak, and in .351 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position as well. Perez trying to go down and away, gets it there. LeMahieu takes a hack at it. But that's where you want to be. That's where you want to, if you're going to miss, you want to miss either down or out of the zone.
2 balls and 2 strikes to DJ LeMahieu. Perez back to the plate. Got him swinging. Good tailing fastball at 94. And back-to-back strikeouts gets Perez out of the inning. A run on 3 hits and 3 left. After 2, 5-1 Rangers. down, and you'll also enjoy a special post-game fireworks show set to Star Wars music. There will also be special appearances by the Star Wars characters out of the concourse. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials and use the coupon code FIREWORKS for $14 upper reserve tickets. Yeah, there's a Star Wars character next to Raleigh Fingers. Rangers come to bat here in the top of the third. Mitch Moreland leading things off, takes strike one. Moreland had a 2-run single in the first as he ripped one by Willeen Rosario at first base with the bases loaded. Well, Mitch now 48 RBI and that batting average up to 290. Big slow breaking ball. First one of those we've seen from Jorge De La Rosa today, but he will do that on occasion. Mostly the harder breaking ball, especially the left-handers, but every once in a while, we mentioned he'll change speeds on that and turn it into almost an ephus pitch. Took something off that, Mitch out in front of it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mitch on the road this year, 6th best average in the American League at .313. Rangers as a team, despite what they've done on this road trip, still hitting right around .240. Moreland drives one to center field. Stubbs retreating. And the fleet-footed center fielder able to make the grab for out number 1. Well, 1 on. Josh Hamilton coming up, but right now let's send it back to Rick Renner for a Mazda game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Well, Josh Hamilton for his second at bat. He takes that slow breaking ball for strike 1. And considering what Rick was just talking about, telling you about that Mazda game break, our direct TV standings, showing you the Mets now 3 games behind the Nationals. But, still fairly bunched up. Atlanta not playing extremely well, but they're still just 7 games off the pace. And then Miami and Philadelphia falling by the wayside. Fire sale time in Philadelphia from all accounts. 0-2 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Philly deals Cole Hamels, and if they do, where he goes and what he brings.
We have 9 days left before the non-waiver trading deadline. Yeah, it will be interesting. Apparently, they're fielding offers from every corner of baseball for Hamels. Foul into the glove, or did he catch it between the arm and the chest protector? It's going to be a foul tip caught by Nick Hundley.
Josh gets another breaking ball, fouls it off, but Hundley makes a magical catch. Between the leg and the chest protector. Okay.
Well, that is the 3rd strikeout for Jorge De La Rosa. The Elvis showing bunt takes a strike. Andrus, a sacrifice fly in the 1st inning. Elvis now 31 RBI for the year. That was his 6th sacrifice fly also. He was in the top 10 coming into play today with 5 of them. Behind in the count here, no balls, 2 strikes. De La Rosa trying for his first 1-2-3 inning this afternoon. A ball and 2 strikes. Elvis a .345 average with 3 doubles in his last 8 games. That's seen him raise his average 10 points. Rips that one foul down toward the tarpaulin. I'll talk about improvements. How about Lowe's never stop improving? We'll show you Elvis Andrus. The last 6 ball games, he's hit .364 with a .417 on-base percentage. Previous 11 games, .135 with a .179 on-base percentage. That's pretty good improvement. 2-2.
That's consistent improvement. That's what you want to see. You want to see the consistency. Getting on base at a 419 clip, that's a lot. You're probably not going to stay there, but you definitely want it closer to 419 than 179.
And Elvis reaching for one, pops it up. Tulowitzki, the shortstop, makes the catch, and it is indeed the first 1-2-3 inning for Jorge De La Rosa. Rangers gone in order. We've finished 2.5. It's the Rangers 5, the Rockies 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer to kick off the summer right. Ford is the best in Texas. Here at the foot of the Rocky Mountains outside Denver, Colorado. Beautiful afternoon. A few high clouds over the mountains. Overhead at Coors Field, nothing but blue sky. White puffy clouds off in the distance. Rangers having a pretty nice picnic for the first 2.5 innings here, leading 5-1. Rockies come to bat. Carlos Gonzalez leading things off, and he takes strike one. Gonzalez grounded into a double play back in the first inning. Rockies put their 3 hits together for a run in the second. And Gonzalez pops it up. Beltre, here the coach's box, makes the grab. That is out number 1. So Gonzalez 0 for 2. Next will be Troy Tulowitzki.
It's a big out to get right there with Gonzalez in front of Tulo.
Now Tulowitzki grounded out to Beltre in the first inning. He had had limited experience against Martin Perez, but a home run in 2 at-bats prior to the first inning here today. Takes ball 1. I mentioned Martin faced the Rockies here in his next to last start of 2014. Gave up 5 runs in 5 innings of work, and one of them coming on a Tulowitzki home run. That pitch low and outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Tulowitzki, remember, as of last night, had his 41-game on-base streak come to an end. He still hit safely in 38 of his last 40 ball games, though. That's at a 366 clip. And he takes ball 3. Martini trying to hit that outside corner and just missing off the plate. The 3-0 pitch coming. Martin Perez, 43 pitches with 1 out here in the 3rd. Tulowitzki back in. Gets out of that squared away stance. And he takes strike 2.
Martin's doing an outstanding job hitting that corner down and away, whether it's the fastball or the changeup. One of the things that you look for is that location. You've been able to command your pitches, especially your secondary pitches, and so far Martin's done a good job.
To the wind he goes, payoff pitch. Outside and low, ball 4. Tulowitzki draws the walk. That's the 3rd pass issued by Martin this afternoon. A 1 on, 1 out. Nolan Arenado is coming up. We think about the Rockies, Mac, as being a slugging team, and they are that. They're also a very patient team. They are 4th in the National League in on-base percentage at over 320. They will make you throw some good strikes. They're not going to go up there swinging from their heels on every pitch.
Well, you've got a bunch of professional hitters throughout this Rockies lineup, especially the middle part of the lineup. They're going to make you throw pitches, and they're going to try and wait you out and get their pitch.
Arenado taking that pitch all the way for strike 1. Leading off the 2nd inning, Arenado blasted a line drive that was caught by Mitch Moreland. Saw that note, 51 extra base hits, 2nd in the National League for Arenado. He's already established career highs for himself in home runs with 24 and 72 RBI, also the most of his young career. Perez okays the sign, a check of Tulowitzki at first. And that pitch just a bit low, 2-1. And speaking of the home runs, here's the National League leaders for you. Bryce Harper and Giancarlo Stanton with 27. Todd Frazier, 26 with Cincinnati, and then Arenado with 24. Giancarlo Stanton, of course, out for the foreseeable future. 2-1 pitch coming. He went around, and it's 2-2. Martin getting that cut fastball in on the left-hander Arenado.
Good location by Martin. He's been hammering everybody away pretty much. Fastball, changeup, down and away. And comes in with a cutter to a tough hitter to get a strike.
Chirinos flashing the signs out. Martin picks 1 out. Got him on the fists again. That's foul backing out of play. So backing it up, getting 2 fastballs in to Arenado. Got a check swing and then a jam shot foul ball.
Martin's up there not throwing. He's out there pitching, using both sides of the plate. Up and in, down and away. That's how you become effective.
Down the right field line, it's going to slice back and into the seats. And the count remains even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Arenado 3 out of 8 in this series. Not a guy that strikes out an inordinate amount of the time. 53 strikeouts and over 340 at bats. Pops it up. This one's in play. Odor coming down, calling off Mitch Moreland. And Rugnet handles it for out number 2. A good pitch that time by Martin Perez to get the pop up. And 2 away. Willeen Rosario now will come up.
Great pitch by Perez. He's a tough hitter. Trying to navigate the middle of the lineup with Tulowitzki and Arenado. You see him trying to go inside. He gets it in there, gets it up in the zone a little bit, trying to go down, but still very effective. I think Arenado was just a little upset and frustrated there. Rangers pitchers have had him pretty frustrated the last couple of days.
I think Rocky hitters have done more damage to their own bats than the Ranger pitchers have. Tulowitzki snapped one last night. Arenado snapping one today. So 2 outs. Tulowitzki still at first. Willeen Rosario, who had an infield hit starting off the second inning, or starting off the 3 consecutive hit run in the second inning. Grounds one to Beltre. A belt high hop. And across the diamond, that will do it. So Tulowitzki walks with 1 out. He is left stranded. We finished 3 at Coors Field in Denver. It's the Rangers 5 and the Rockies 1. And Medical Center Arlington on Labor Day. It's the 4th annual Rangers Labor Day race. You can enjoy a scenic 5K course that finishes on the field at Globe Life, or you can bring the whole family for a 1K fun run. Visit TexasRangers.com/race to sign up. Shin-Soo Choo will start things off for the Rangers here in the 4th inning. Texas on top 5-1. They have out-hit the Rockies 5-3 this afternoon. Shin-Soo had a base hit to right field back in the 1st inning. Choo, after that cycle feat last night, went 4 for 5, continuing to drive runs in. Now 43 RBI for Choo. 1-0 pitch to him, and that's a little bit low. Now this series, the Ranger bottom of the order. Now, with the exception of the pitcher in the National League rules, but 6, 7, and 8 have had a 500 average coming into play today. They were 12 for 25 in this series. And Choo was a big part of that. Choo and Andrews and Rua was in there for a bit. Chirinos. They have done the job offensively and turned it over to the top, even with the pitcher hitting between them and the top of the order. It has been very much a team effort against Colorado. Choo with a rip and a miss, 2-2.
You know, the bottom of that order can contribute like that, getting on base, driving in runs. That makes the team that much better. You know, you obviously expect the guys at the top of the order and the middle guys to do a lot of the damage. And it's just icing on the cake when, 6, 7, 8, and typically 9 for us in the American League. When those guys get on base, that's doing a lot.
3-2 now to Chu. Yeah, and those 3 spots have scored 8 runs in the series so far. Well, that's pretty good production. So full count, Chu trying to get aboard to start off the Ranger 4th inning. You saw Robinson Chirinos. He is going to be the next hitter. De La Rosa to the wind, the payoff pitch. We will try it again. Our AT&T U-Verse Rewind will take you back to last night. Shin-Soo Choo with his first cycle of his career. That was a double his first time up. Next time up, he launched his 12th home run to the right field bullpen out there. It was a base hit to right that scored a run. And last time up to center field, Blackman got back to the wall, too close to the wall, couldn't make the play, and Chu head first into third, completing the cycle. That was in the 9th inning, so he got the toughest one on his last at bat. And here, saw a tough changeup come in from De La Rosa on a 3-2 pitch, and Chu caught looking at strike 3.
Caught the inside part of the plate just enough. Chu thought he looked it all the way in. Top of the zone. About as far in as you can get it.
Well, De La Rosa with his 4th strikeout of the afternoon. He's now retired 5 straight since Rougned Odor's home run. And Robinson Chirinos will step in. 1 ball, no strikes. Chirinos went down swinging in the 1st inning.
No, even though Chu struck out in that at bat, that's the Chu that we're used to seeing. He's going to make the pitcher throw some pitches, see him, and even though he looked at that one, he was in a really good position to hit it, and that's what you really want to look for. He's looking very comfortable, has been since the start of the second half. You know, even some of the outs, the swings are different. And, you know, when you get a couple of hits, especially after you're not swinging the bat well or haven't been swinging the bat well, no matter who you are, whether you're a veteran player or a young player, it's a confidence builder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the more confident you are, the more swagger you have. And right now, Chu looks very hittable out there.
Swaggerish?
Swaggerish. Especially with the bright red gloves on. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Not going to lose him in a fog bank, that's for sure. 1 ball and 1 strike to Chirinos. Now 2-1. Well, and you know, that's something the Rangers, we talked about what Rougned Odor brings to the ball club now that he's back, and he's got that little swagger, that edge that he plays with. And the Rangers have quite a few guys that when things are going well, when they're going right, they're pretty tough. They have a little edge to them.
Yeah,
a bit of nasty.
Yeah, you want that, but you know, I think the thing that they really have to realize, they have to have it no matter what.
Right.
Because you've got to believe in yourself to know that even when I'm struggling, I'm going to get back to where I need to be.
Yeah.
So you've got to continue to have it. And you know, I know Chu knows that, but it's difficult, especially when you go through a stretch or a couple of stretches like Chu's gone through this year so far.
3-1 pitch on the way. Arenado stays down with it, and the Gold Glove third baseman across the diamond. 2 gone. No, 2 up, 2 away, 6 straight now sent down by De La Rosa. And his opposite number, Martin Perez, will come to the plate. Perez struck out on 4 pitches, his first time up there. De La Rosa's first pitch is in for strike 1. It may not seem like a big difference to have that pitcher hitting and what it does to the lineup, but it's a huge difference if you're a pitcher facing a lineup that you know there's one guy at the bottom that you ought to dominate every single time he comes up there. I mean, it's only 1/9 of the whole thing that you face, but it seems much more important than that.
Is it more of a mental thing?
Yes. Yeah, I think it is. Well, you know, statistically, you're probably going to average 2 strikeouts a game more with that spot. 1 to 2 strikeouts anyway. But, you know, looking in the American League, there's some lineups that you can't find an out that you feel comfortable with. In the National League, most of the time you're going to have at least 1, if not 2, that you say, okay, I can handle these guys no matter what else goes on. The pitcher spot would be one of those. And typically the 7th or 8th hitter is not one of the better hitters in the National League.
Why do you think that is, Buzz? In the National League, the 7th or 8th hitter isn't really, a very good hitter, but in the American League, seems to be, 7, 8, 9 fills out pretty good.
I don't know, Mac. Not really sure. I know that being brought up in the area of no DH, it was always the worst hitter other than the pitcher hit 8th in the lineup right before the pitcher, so that you have those two guys together, get them out of the way, and everybody else can go to work. I don't know if that's still prevalent or not in National League thinking. Statistics would probably play into how lineups are constructed more now than ever before. But I don't know. I don't think there's more of an emphasis in the National League on defense anymore. I think there used to be, up the middle especially. So many good athletes now that you don't have to say, well, my best athletes are just going to be shortstop and center field.
Right.
Now you've got athletes at every single position and a couple of guys on the bench that are pretty good athletes. Well, Martin making Jorge De La Rosa work in this at bat. Quality at bat for the Ranger pitcher. Payoff pitch from him. Called strike 3. Martin Perez will not get the benefit of the doubt on a call. He is gone. 3 up, 3 down again for De La Rosa. We have finished 3.5. Rangers still leading 5-1 in Colorado. On Fox Sports Southwest. He is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Gorgeous afternoon here in Denver, Colorado. Rangers and Rockies in a matinee affair. Rangers leading 5-1. All the damage done by the two teams in the first 2 innings. Martin Perez back to the hill. He will face Drew Stubbs, Nick Hundley, and Brandon Barnes. The first 3 to come to bat for Colorado here in the 4th inning. Drew Stubbs had a base hit to right field. That was part of 3 consecutive hits the Rockies put together for their run in the 4th inning. Or 2nd inning, I should say. Here in the 4th inning. Stubbs will lead it off, and that batting average for Stubbs now at 176 as he takes ball 1. Perez back to the plate and fires a strike. Talking last night about Drew Stubbs going down to AAA Albuquerque, trying to get things squared around. He got off to a terrible start hitting about 140 for the Rockies. Because of the time he had at the big league level, he could turn down an outright assignment to AAA, and he declined to turn it down. He said, I'll go down there and do the work that I have to do. And I think it's smart on his part to recognize that he had some things that he had to accomplish and went down there and tried to accomplish them.
Yeah, it's a big gamble for guys when they have the option to decline or accept an assignment to the minor leagues, because if they decline it, they end up going somewhere else. You just never know what's going to happen in that new organization.
And Stubbs showing you the kind of speed he has. That was a deflection out toward Odor. And Rugden knew he had to get rid of it in a hurry and couldn't find the handle.
Reyes is probably a little bit upset with himself, thinking that he had a play here. Got his body around, but just couldn't reach it. Odor gets to it, just can't make the transfer. Kind of got caught in between steps there. Threw his rhythm off a little bit.
Got a good look, too, at the grip he had coming out of the glove. He had the claw on it in his fingertips. That wasn't going to go anyplace.
No.
No one on, nobody out. Nick Hundley had the RBI base hit to center his first time. Stubbs with very good speed at first base. And Hundley a chopper up the middle. That's into center field, a base hit. Stubbs around second will motor into third. It looked like Andrus and Odor kind of looked at each other, thinking the other guy was going to go get that ball up the middle.
Some miscommunication there. As a middle infielder, you've got to communicate with one another and let each other know where you are, and you should know where they are instinctively, but I'm not sure either one's going to be able to make that play there. That's just a base hit. Elvis knows he can't get to it, and he wasn't really expecting Chirinos to get to it, because he didn't break toward Odor, because Elvis didn't break toward the bag.
Well, runners at the corners with nobody out. Brandon Barnes, the left fielder, is at the plate. And he takes strike one. Barnes drew a walk his first time up there. Barnes a .295 average. Stubbs over at third. Hundley at first. Foul down a play to the right. Perez rubbing up a new baseball. It'll be his 62nd pitch of the afternoon. Martin had a long pitch, or a long inning in the second. He ended up throwing 25 pitches in that second inning. Chopper out toward Odor. It's off his glove. He recovers and scoops. It's over Moreland's head, and it goes into the camera well. Stubbs is home, and it's going to be an error on Rugden Odor trying to flip it barehanded to Moreland. And that's going to advance Hundley and Brandon Barnes to second and third. Rugden looked like trying to do a little too much on that play.
Yeah, he's feeling a little bit of pressure right there to make the play. He made the right move by coming to get that ball. And once he swiped at it, hit it up in front of him, I think he panicked a little bit. But this is definitely the right move on this chopper with a runner on first base. You come get it. If he makes that play, he's got an easy double play there. But I think he had a little bit of panic once that ball flipped up in his face and just tried to do too much on the flip. See him get the bare hand and just a little bit too much there.
Well, I would assume that's going to be the second infield hit of this inning, plus an error to allow the runners to advance. A run in, second and third. Now still nobody out. And Jorge De La Rosa, the pitcher, is up there. Now De La Rosa, you remember his first time up, came up with the bases loaded and one out, and was asked on 3 consecutive pitches to try and bunt. He bunted them foul for a strikeout. It's showing no inclination to bunt there. Well, it's going to be a double error. It's not going to be an infield single. on that last play. One and one the count. Well, happily scoring, and it's going to be an error on the misplay to allow Barnes to reach first base on that last play. And he'll get an RBI. And then an error additionally charged to Rougned Odor to allow the runners to advance 90 feet. Off the end of the bat out toward short. Coming in to score is Hundley as Elvis fires on to first. De La Rosa is out. He gets the RBI, his third RBI of the year. And it's now a 5-3 Ranger lead.
Well, the Rangers had the infield back with nobody out. Even though De La Rosa was hitting, you don't want to give him extra room to get a hit and drive in two. So you give up the one, you've still got a 2-run lead, and now just a runner at second base.
Well, it takes the Rockies back to the top of the order. DJ LeMahieu, who has walked and struck out, will step in. Barnes at second. First pitch to LeMahieu. To center field, that is down for a base hit. Coming around third is Barnes. He will score. LeMahieu with the RBI single. It is a 5-4 Ranger lead as the Rockies coming back here in the fourth inning. Mike Maddox quickly after the mound to see if he can slow things down for Martin Perez.
Perez trying to go down and away, left it up just a little bit. Mayhew gets the good part of the bat on it. Dumps it into center field, gets the Rockies right back in.
DJ LeMahieu now with a 13-game hitting streak with that base hit. Mike Maddox out there ordering up one of his specialties, a double play.
Well, this goes to show you that no lead here in Colorado is safe.
Boy, you're right.
Rangers tacked on, threw up a 5 spot in the first couple of innings. And here come the Rockies in the last couple of innings. They're in the second inning and now in the fourth inning. Bring the score to 5-4. So you've got to score runs while you can and score them as often as you can here in Colorado.
Well, the Rangers for a spell there from the third inning. There goes LeMahieu. The pitch is inside. The throw is late. And LeMahieu gets himself into scoring position with a stolen base. That is his 12th of the year.
You know, it's always a good time to try and take advantage of a pitcher when they've given up a couple of hits, a couple of runs. All they're concentrating on really is trying to throw a strike and get ahead of the next hitter. And if you're a base stealer, a base runner, the time to go is early if you can. Hopefully that pitcher will forget about you. Looks like that's what Perez did.
The tying run now in scoring position for Carlos Gonzalez, who's 0 for 2. And he pops this one up. Coming on, Josh Hamilton. And that is out number 2. LeMahieu stays at second. Troy Tulowitzki will be next. We talk about the no lead is safe. Rangers got down 7-0 after 2 innings. They proceeded in the rest of that game, last night's game and today, to score 21 of the next 22 runs in the series. And now the Rockies have come back and scored the last 4 in this ball game. Tulowitzki has drawn a walk and grounded out. 0 for 1 today. Tulowitzki second on the Rockies club with 52 runs driven in. LeMahieu, pretty good lead at second as Martin Perez checks it. 1 ball, no strikes. Tulowitzki currently hitting at .315. Perez back to him. 2 balls, no strikes. Tulowitzki, 7th in Major League Baseball with runners in scoring position this year. A .329 average. And he's got LeMahieu out there in scoring position, carrying the tying run here in the 4th inning. They're going to go ahead and walk Tulowitzki. You get to the point where you're in a hitter's count. Probably the discretion being the better part of valor with Tulowitzki. You still got a tough hitter in Arenado coming up, but at least you get a fresh start on the count.
Yeah, you give your defense a little bit of a advantage by being able to create a force at every base.
Well, the intentional walk to Tulowitzki. Second walk he has been issued today. 4th walk of the game. 2 on with 2 outs. Nolan Arenado has lined to first and popped to second. And Arenado, even though he's 0 for 2 today, you put him in a situation where he has runners in scoring position. He's 3rd in the major leagues, hitting at .417. So you've gone from the frying pan definitely into the fire with the middle of this Colorado order. And Martin Perez fires in strike 1. There's that runners in scoring position figure we were talking about. LeMahieu at second, Tulowitzki at first. Martin Perez checking them. Popped him up. Odor going out, Chu coming on. Sunglasses glistening, and Chu puts it away. That will do it. But the Rockies score 3 times. They strand 2. We've finished 4. It's now the Rangers 5 and the Rockies 4. On July 29th at the Whataburger on Sycamore School Road in Fort Worth. Don't miss this chance to win great prizes and to meet one of your favorite Rangers, Delino DeShields at Whataburger. And speaking of Delino, he is going to lead off the Ranger 5th inning. It's now a 1-run game. Rockies coming back with 3 in the bottom of the 4th. 2 of those were earned, 1 unearned, a couple of errors in the inning. Charged to Rougned Odor. Delino led off the game by bunting for a single. He came around to score on Mitch Moreland's base hit. Rangers jumped out to a quick 4-0 lead. And the first pitch hits him. Jorge De La Rosa, who was a little upset, I think, the first time DeShields bunted for a base hit, Saw Delino turn around and lost his concentration, I guess. Pitch just got away from him.
Yes, because I really don't think he did that intentionally to get Delino on base to lead off this inning.
First base runner the Rangers have had in the last 8.
Right there on the quad, just above the knee. Thank goodness it didn't hit the knee.
The 1 on, nobody out. Rougned Odor, who also bunted his way aboard first time up. Shows bunt again, pulls the bat back. It is ball 1. For the Rangers, that's the 41st hit batter they have had this year. They were, for a long time, leading all of Major League Baseball. They've kind of calmed down in the last month or so. And we're still tied for 3rd coming into play today. And we'll add 1 more to that total. One ball and 1 strike. Rougned now a modest 3-game hitting streak after his first inning bunt single. He's gone 4 for 12 in those 3 ball games. Now played in 29 games since coming back from AAA. That was on the 15th of June. Pulls this one off the glove of Rosario. He steps on the bag to get Odor at first, but DeShields, he was motoring to second. Rosario had no chance to get him. DeShields now in scoring position with 1 out for Beltre.
Rosario thought about it, bobbled the ball that was hit at him, was able to grab it, get it under control, and step on the bag. DeShields blocking his way. So if Rosario had thrown it, probably either goes into left field or hits Delino in the back somewhere. And that's part of your job as a runner when that ball's hit behind you, to try and really just make yourself bigger than you actually are and try and deter that fielder from throwing the ball down that way.
Mission accomplished in that particular case. 1 out now with DeShields at second. Adrian Beltre 0 for 1. Takes strike 1. Beltre walked and scored in the first, flied to center in the second. Adrian a .257 average as he faces De La Rosa. Beltre in his last 9 ball games has hit to a .351 clip. We were talking about this last night. He and Prince Fielder all of a sudden hot at the same time in the middle of the order. I don't know if you call it necessarily Prince hot because he's been so consistent. He just happens to be consistent at a little higher level than most guys are, like around 340.
It's not a bad level to be at.
No, that's a level that a lot of folks are seeking. You get he and Adrian hot at the same time, or going well at the same time. You can do an awful lot of damage with those 2 guys. Now the 1-1 pitch. 2 balls and a strike. And with Beltre camping out here at Coors Field, second highest figure now all time in this facility at .394 average. That's not just a short sample of games. This is 63 games now that Adrian's played here.
When you look at the top 5 hitters here at Coors Field.
There goes DeShields, and the throw is late. It goes by Arenado into left field, and DeShields will trot home with the 6th run of the afternoon for the Rangers. So Delino using his wheels to get the Rangers a run. A stolen base, an error on Hundley's throw, and the Rangers have a 6-4 lead.
That's what speed does to you. It creates pressure. Arenado playing back with Beltre up. Wasn't able to get over there. DeShields saw that Arenado was playing back, took off. Not much chance to throw him out. That throw by Hundley goes into left field. Rangers manufacture a run.
Yeah, hit batter, a ground out, a stolen base, and an error. That manufacturing process is Well, you're very talented, let's put it that way, to make that work for you. You got to have an awful lot of speed. And Beltre swinging through a high off-speed pitch. 3-2 to Adrian. Well, the Rangers get one of those runs back that the Rockies scored in the bottom of the fourth. Back up to a 2-run advantage. De La Rosa with the payoff pitch. Lost him. Beltre gets his second walk of the day. He is aboard with one out, with Moreland coming up. Only 2 walks this afternoon for De La Rosa. They both have gone to Beltre. Moreland had that 2-run single in the first inning. Last time up, Mitch skied to fairly deep right center field. So 1 out of 2 today, and batting average at .289. Moreland and Beltre both moving up a spot from their customary position in the order. Fly ball to right field. Gonzalez drifting back, has room. Out number 2 with Beltre headed back to first base. It's just missed that pitch. Let's check in with John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, normally Emily samples the delicacies in ballpark, but she didn't want any part of this. I'm going to do this one for her. These are Rocky Mountain oysters. It's the delicacy here. I'm going to try them. This is for you. Let's see what these are all. You know, actually, that dipping sauce is really good. It's got a nice horseradish flavor to it, and they don't taste bad, and yet the image of what I just ate makes me feel like I need cleansing of my palate, and that's what the horseradish does, guys. Back to you.
Had a way to take one for the team.
Yeah. Yeah, better you than us, John.
Yeah, look at them. Good sauce. It's an acquired taste I'm not sure I'll ever acquire.
Oh, goodness. Hamilton, little looping pop-up down the left field line, slicing and going foul. We'll reset. Beltre back to first, and Hamilton back to the plate. Say this, John Radigan will do anything for the club.
You know? Yes, he will. That is a team player right there.
Is that? Man.
He's still going after it, too. Look at him. There you go.
0-2 to Hamilton. Hamilton 0 for 2. A strikeout and a tapper back to the mound. Now a ball and 2 strikes. Josh, a .230 average now as he faces De La Rosa. He's 5 for his last 29 trips to the plate. 2-2. Josh came back off the disabled list after that hamstring problem on the 30th of June. It's been about a little bit over 3 weeks. He's hit just under 220 in that time. Hasn't really been able to get back to 100%. The groin injury bothered him. He's gone on strikes here. And De La Rosa able to work around any further damage. Rangers get a run without the benefit of a hit. They leave one. We're halfway through the ball game. It's the Rangers 6 and the Rockies 4. Receive a Rangers cowboy hat, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Walmart. You want to come out and pick up this must-have accessory for your fashions? Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS, and you can have one of those cowboy hats. Martin Perez back out to the hill to start the bottom of the fifth inning. Wilin Rosario, who is 1 for 2 with a run scored, takes strike one, and Martin back to him. Line drive, Elvis up and just snares it in the very tip of his glove for out number 1. Drew Stubbs coming up next. Before he steps in, let's send it back to Rick Renner for a Mazda game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Here the Rangers leading the Rockies 6-4. Drew Stubbs has a pair of base hits, one infield and one to the outfield. Takes a breaking ball for strike one. Stubbs singled starting off the fourth inning. Scored one of the 3 Rocky runs in that frame. And he takes strike 2. Perez varying the look and the speed of those pitches to Stubbs very effectively. One ball and 2 strikes.
Stubbs was the one who got things started last inning. A little nubber off of Martin's glove that Odor couldn't field.
This one's popped up. And back behind the mound, and Elvis Andrus making the call and the catch. Adrian's going to give him a hard time about that. Again. 2 gone for Nick Hundley. Now the inning by inning breakdown. So the second inning, 25 pitches for Martin. Last inning, 21 pitches. Other than that, the other 3 innings have been very efficient. Only 6 to get the first 2 outs here in the 5th. Go back to last night. Matt Harrison had a couple of pitches or a couple of innings that totaled 12 pitches. I believe it was the 3rd and 4th that he used 8 in one inning and 4 in the other. In our Kubota Power Stats, Matt Harrison last night, his first win in better than a year. 6 innings of work. 7 hits is all he allowed. 11 groundouts, Matt Harrison. So that's a pretty good indicator that he is getting back to 100%. Get that good sinker going and got a lot of ground balls.
I think, Buzz, the more he goes out there, the more comfortable he's going to get. Anytime you come back from an injury, no matter what type of injury it is, you still have some doubt in the back of your mind.
Well, there is a very efficient 1-2-3 inning for Martin Perez and the Rangers. Rockies out in order. We have finished 5 here in Denver. The Rangers 6, the Rockies 4. Sonic. Today's jackpot is back to $100 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Jane Gordon from Denton will win $100. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Jane's going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Jane, you've got Elvis Andrus, Shin-Soo Choo, and Robinson Chirinos trying to win you $100 and dinner for two at Sonic. Or get those three on, and maybe Martin Perez will get his first major league hit, a home run, a grand slam for you. Elvis, a sacrifice fly and a pop to short. 0 for 1. Currently batting at .245 as he gets ready to step in against Jorge De La Rosa. Rangers 6 runs on 5 hits. They have committed 2 errors. The Rockies 4 runs, 6 hits. And they've had 1 error. There's a slow breaking ball from De La Rosa that drops in for strike 1. Herman up and throwing in the bullpen. Gonzalez Herman for the Rockies. A ball and a strike. Elvis leading off the Rangers' 6th inning. Rangers have not had a base hit since the 2nd. Now 2-1. Ranger fans here today, Patricia Gear and Carol Duff wanted to say hello to everybody back at home. Happy to be watching the Rangers, rooting them on to a win here this afternoon and a series win. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Elvis last night with a couple of hits continued his hot hitting on this road trip.
De La Rosa studying the signs now, starts and stops. Thinks better of it. He and Nick Hundley trying to get together on the sign. Now they're together. The 2-2 pitch. Tulowitzki gets a big chest-high hop and throws out his counterpart, Elvis Andrus, out for one away here in the 6th. Next will be Shin-Soo Choo. Choo had an RBI single in the 1st. He struck out looking in the 4th inning. Average at 237. The RBI total up to 43. And home runs standing at an even dozen. He is 3rd on the Ranger club behind Mitch Moreland and Prince Fielder. 1 ball, no strikes. Remember coming out of the All-Star break at the start of this road trip in Houston. Choo not in the lineup the first night. Jeff Bannister, when asked about it, he just felt that the 3 guys that he had out there were the best option on that given evening. Shin-Soo Choo didn't go around moping. He took some extra batting practice, got the opportunity the next day, and shall we say the rest is history?
You could say that. That's a very good way to put it.
7 for his last 10 times up. A cycle last night.
It's pretty good hitting. And, you know, at some point, you know, manager's got to make a change. He's got to do something different when a guy's struggling. Give him a day off, maybe even a couple or 3 days off, just so he can, you know, clear his head and just, get, you know, when he finally gets back in there, he's really starting with a fresh plate, hopefully, mentally.
And Choo caught looking at that fastball from De La Rosa. 2nd time that De La Rosa has crossed up Shin-Soo Choo, and 7 strikeouts now for the Rockies left-hander.
Choo probably looking for something off speed, probably that breaking ball. But De La Rosa goes with the fastball down and away. Good pitcher's pitch.
And as you've seen, De La Rosa not overpowering and not at least able to stand out there and throw fastball after fastball. But when he sets up the fastball like he did, pretty tough to pull the trigger for most guys.
especially lefty on lefty.
Little crossfire action.
A little bit.
Yeah. Robinson Chirinos, 0 for 2 today. He has struck out and grounded out. Off speed, in for a strike. Had a shot of Sam Freeman out in the Ranger bullpen. And looking into the on-deck circle, Martin Perez has come out into the on-deck circle. I would imagine if the Rangers had gotten a couple on, that Jeff Bannister might have lifted Perez for a pinch hitter. It looks like Martin, for all intents and purposes, will probably head back out if this is a 1-2-3 inning to start the bottom of the 6th. Sam continuing to throw out there. No balls, 2 strikes. That fastball, 92, looks about 102. All that off-speed stuff before it.
After the 80 mile an hour curveball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chirinos at 218 now with a batting average. Back in there, he is ready to go to work. 1-2 pitch. It's over the Rocky dugout, back into the seats on the first base side. Sun-bathed the crowd out here at Coors Field today. Beautiful weather. It's been great all 3 days that we've been here in Denver. A little rain late at night last night. Dried everything out today. It is bone dry and very comfortable. Chirinos down on strikes. 8 strikeouts now for De La Rosa. Rangers gone in order. We finished 5.5 in Denver. It's the Rangers 6 and the Rockies 4. Upper box, Lexus Club Terrace, and lower reserve sections are half price when you purchase online thanks to Ozarka. Tuesday, August 4th is the perfect time to take advantage of this offer. The Rangers take on the Houston Astros. You can get your tickets online at texasrangers.com/specials using the online coupon code Ozarka. Now Martin Perez out to begin the 6th inning here. He will face Brandon Barnes, the pitcher's spot, and then DJ LeMahieu. Barnes pops up that first pitch. It's going to twist back into the seats. Out of play. 0-1. Breeze freshening now, blowing in from left center field. That kind of helped that pop-up get out of play. afternoon storms building over the mountains as usual, and you get some constantly changing wind patterns down here in Denver. I say down here, we're still a mile up. And another foul ball, 0-2. Perez, 85 pitches thus far. Barnes has walked and reached on an error. .293 the average for the Rockies left fielder. 1-2. Perez, in his last outing, threw a total of 86 pitches. That was against the Astros on Thursday, or on Friday, I should say. Pitch popped out of play. So he has surpassed that now by one pitch. And still throwing the ball well. That pitch total is not an inordinate number. He had gotten up to 96 pitches in his last rehab start.
Yeah, he's had a few quick innings. I think every odd inning he's had a pretty quick inning.
Barnes drives it to right. Chu is back with room. And in front of the out-of-town scoreboard. Handles that for out number 1. And now we're going to get a pinch hitter for Jorge De La Rosa. Michael McHenry is going to come off the bench as the pinch hitter. Saw McHenry in the first ball game as a pinch hitter. Well, McHenry, a .216 average, 3 home runs and a dozen driven in. McHenry coming off the bench, just 2 for 13. We always talk about one of the big differences, I guess, the way the ball clubs are constructed in the National League. You always have at least 2 guys that are pretty good pinch hitters, McHenry being one of them. Long throw from Odor, and he gets Michael McHenry by a half step. Nice play by Rugnet, who really had to air it out from shallow center field.
Very nice play by Rugi. Kind of lost his balance there a little bit. It looked like he tripped a little bit, but he still was able to recover on the shortstop side of the bag. It's a nice strong throw off once he got planted. See him going up the middle here. Yeah, tripped just a little bit, but was able to stay under control.
He's got that very strong arm at second. That required all the arm strength that he had. 2 outs. P.J. LeMahieu fouling that first pitch off for strike 1. LeMahieu, 1 out of 2. He has been aboard twice. Once via a walk, had an RBI single in the 4th inning. LeMahieu, a .312 average. And Martin Perez straightening the right-handed hitter up with that inside fastball. One pitch. Just off the outer edge. The Rangers finish up here this afternoon, then an off day tomorrow in Anaheim. They'll fly down to Anaheim tonight. Colby Lewis to get the start on Friday night against the Angels. Rangers have 3 right-handers going against Los Angeles. Colby Lewis, Giovanni Gallardo is on Saturday night. Then Sunday afternoon, Nick Martinez. Right now, the Angels undecided on who will oppose Colby Lewis in the Friday night game. Hector Santiago is slated to go Saturday. Andrew Heaney, a couple of left-handers going for the Angels on Saturday and Sunday. Odor on to first. LeMahieu is out. So are the Rockies. And a nice inning. 1-2-3 fashion for Martin Perez. After 6 complete, it's the Rangers 6 and the Rockies 4. game summary got started in a hurry. Ranger Roadrunners got going. That would be Rugnet Odor following Delino DeShields, and then Mitch Moreland got the Rangers on the board. That 2-run single, all in the first inning. Rangers ended up scoring 5 in that frame. And then Delino really showing his speed. Got hit by a pitch, stole third base, came home on the error. And that was the final run the Rangers have scored so far. 6-4. Rangers leading the Rockies as we head to the 7th inning. And a new pitcher for Colorado, Gonzalez Germain, is on the field, on the hill. Kind of an interesting guy. He was a Ranger for about 2 days this offseason. Rangers acquired him in January from the Yankees in a cash deal, and then he was waived by the Rangers and claimed by the Cubs 3 days later. I think I must have missed the news conference of announcing all that. It happened. Leonis Martin off the Ranger bench. He is pinch hitting now. Martin Perez's afternoon has come to a close. Well, Leonis Martin with a .218 average, 5 home runs, 24 driven in. Pinch hitting to start off this 7th inning. And lofts a fly ball to medium center field. Drew Stubbs ambling over, makes the catch, and that is out number 1. Martin flies out, and the other Martin, this Martin Perez, finished after 6 very good innings here this afternoon. 3 earned runs in his 6 innings, 6 hits. Getting congratulatory hugs from Ranger teammates. Well, the last 2 nights, or I should say last night and this afternoon, very encouraging signs for Ranger pitchers coming back. Last night, Matt Harrison. Today, Martin Perez. Mac, that's got to be a big sigh of relief for Ranger fans.
Yeah, I think so. You look at Matt Harrison having a better outing than his first outing, so he built off that first outing. 6 solid shutout innings last night. That's definitely encouraging for him. And then Martin Perez coming back for his second start. He pitched as well as he did in his first outing, and you like to see that. So they're going forward, and these 2 guys can be a huge piece to the Rangers' success in the second half.
Pretty sharp slider on the outside corner. And Delino DeShields now finds himself down in the count, and a ball and 2 strikes. Delino 1 for 2. He has scored a couple of times. Had that bunt single that we showed you. He also was hit by a pitch. We showed you that, how he scampered around the base pass. And that just off the outside corner. Gonzalo Germain, the 27-year-old, he is out of the Dominican Republic. He has bounced around in his professional career. Originally signed by the Mets back in 2007. Made his first major league appearance in 2013 with New York. Three and two to DeShields. Lost him, and Delino on for the 3rd time this afternoon. A hit, a walk, and a hit by pitch, and Delino applying his trade. That would be the speed factor extremely well.
That's called getting on base any way you can. Been on base 3 different ways today. Scored a couple of times already. Let's see if we can make it a 3rd.
Yeah, stole his 16th base of the year last time he was on there. Well, Rugnet Odor has been very capably hitting behind Delino DeShields. Germain, a little calling card over there just to make sure that Delino knew that he was thinking about him. And Delino has to get an extra piece of equipment, that wrist brace that he wears when he's running. And we talked about him in the pregame. Delino DeShields part of that 1-2 punch at the top of the Ranger order. In 30 wins, Delino has hit .330 with 11 steals and 28 runs scored in those 30 games. The 29 losses, he has not been able to contribute nearly as much, hitting just 220. Pitch out on the first pitch, and Delino not going anyplace.
Shields doing all of those things today, getting done any way that he can to hit batsmen. Got down to second, stole third, created a run there. Started the game off with a bunt single, scored on a single.
Pitch inside here to Odor, and it's a 2-ball, no strike count. Odor, take you back to the second inning. Jorge De La Rosa got one out over the plate, and Odor just promptly drove it right on out of here. Rubin, his 6th home run of the year. He was going for number 7 there. So this 1-2 punch for the Rangers at the top of the order. Odor, the second of the 1-2. A 347 average hitting second, and a 958 on base plus slugging. All other spots in the order, Odor has not nearly been as productive, just 228 average. 2-1 the count. Now time call. And you can see the effect that Delino DeShield's speed has on pitching. And Gonzalez Germain, I'm not sure he really knows what to focus on, whether it's to focus on DeShields or whether it's to focus on Odor.
Well, I think he's trying to focus on both. So I like that, because you can't.
Tough to do. Tough to do.
I think you give that runner at first base a little bit of attention, and especially when you're dealing with the top of the order, you've got to have your focus on that hitter.
Yeah, because you can all of a sudden get yourself in hot water with people on base in the middle of the order coming up. DeShields, pretty good lead. He's staying put. And there's a fly ball hit well to right field. Gonzalez is back right at the wall. That ball is off the top of the wall and bounces away from him. DeShields putting on the jet. He's coming home. The throw to the plate, not in time. Into third is Odor on an RBI triple as Delino DeShields really turned it on coming around third base, and the Rangers lead it 7-4.
Man, there's nothing like watching a guy run the bases. Odor gets a pitch up in the zone again. Drives it. High fly ball, deep to right. Gonzalez goes back. Looks like he's got a play. Then he comes off the wall to try and get the rebound, but misses that one. And all the while, Delino DeShields running around the bases in about 2 seconds.
Well, the Rangers last night had Shin-Soo Choo hit for the cycle. Had Delino DeShields come up a home run short of the cycle. And then here this afternoon, Rubin Odor is a double shy of the cycle.
Look at Delino playing this the right way, waiting for that ball to hit or be caught. And look at him go. Not missing a step around at third base. Slides and gets that hand in there. Love watching guys run like that.
Man. That is fun to watch. Kind of reminds you of that old Roadrunner cartoon. You're looking for the coyote to get busted somewhere along the line. Now the intentional walk puts Beltre aboard. And now with runners at the corners, Mitch Moreland coming up. Walt Weiss making the slow trek out to the mound. Gonzalez Germain giving up a walk, followed by a triple to produce a run. Now the intentional walk, and that's going to be it for this afternoon for the right-hander. No pitching change underway here in Colorado. Rangers leading 7-4 and looking for more. We'll tell you how that works out when we come back after this timeout. Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation's RBI programs in North Texas. To help, you can drop off new or gently used baseball and softball equipment at various North Texas locations. Just visit TexasRangers.com/equipment for more information. Christian Friedrich, left-hander, a 27-year-old from Evanston, Illinois, is on now to face Mitch Moreland with runners at the corners and one out here in the 7th inning. Rangers have taken a 7-4 lead. Mitch Moreland trying to add on. Mitch is 1 for 3 this afternoon with a 2-run single. Taps that first pitch foul behind home plate, 0-1. Friedrich, a first-round pick by the Rockies back in the 2008 draft. Friedrich, fastball, breaking ball specialist. He'll throw a couple of different speeds of breaking ball, slider, and a curveball like a spinner. Got Rougned Odor at third after his RBI triple over at first. Adrian Beltre with the intentional walk. Beltre, by the way, has had 3 walks now today. One ball, one strike. Count to Mitch. An overshift on the infield for the Rockies, and Mitch tops that pitch foul again. It is 1-2. Tulowitzki over on the first base side of the second base bag. He would be the pivot man in second base on a double play ball started by Arenado.
The Rangers' damage has been done by the top of batting order today.
And a ground ball. Tulowitzki, off balance throw, not in time. Mitch able to leg it out. And that's where a shift kind of took away the ability to get the double play. Moreland legging out the return throw, gets the RBI. Rangers scoring again. It's 8-4 Texas as Odor flies home coming down that line. Kind of an awkward positioning to try and get a ground ball that you can turn to 2.
Yeah, there's no help there really. Tulo gets it. LeMahieu tried to get over there, but he wasn't in a good position to try and turn that double play. And Mitch getting down that line, getting an all-important insurance run.
And Mitch now 3 runs driven in today, has 49 for the year. Here's Josh Hamilton. Ball 1.
Yeah, you look at the shift. This is one of the consequences of the shift. Got to take yourself out of a double play situation, especially if that shortstop's going to field the ball like that. There's not really a whole lot you can do.
Yep. Hamilton 0 for 3. A couple of strikeouts, a tapper back to the mound. It's this one hard. It's into right field, a base hit. Moreland will stop at second. Hamilton got a breaking ball that was screaming hit me from the time it left Friedrich's hand. And Josh obliged. His first hit of the day, and 2 on with 2 out for Elvis Andrus.
Nice at bat by Josh. Waiting back, getting that off-speed pitch all day long. Been out in front of it. Got that one. Drilled it right through the middle of that shift again.
Well, the Rangers now with 7 base hits. They have, again, 2 aboard here with 2 outs in the 7th inning. And Elvis, who is 0 for 2, steps to the plate. Friedrich misses low for ball 1.
You know, we talked about the top of the order in the open today, and you look at the damage they've done. 4 hits, 4 for 6 with 6 runs scored and a couple of RBIs between DeShields and Odor. That's the kind of production you want to have. And when those guys are getting on base, guys behind them can get the job done.
Elvis lofts a fly ball to right center field. Stubbs into the alley, makes the grab. That will do it. But the Rangers add on a couple of runs on 2 hits. They lead 2. We'll take the stretch here at Coors Field in Denver with the Rangers leading the Rockies 8-4. True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and much more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, Sam Freeman has entered the ball game now to take over here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Martin Perez, 6 innings of work, 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. And Freeman appearing in his 32nd ball game. Leonis Martin stays in the ball game and takes over in center field. Josh Hamilton out of the ball game as Delino DeShields moves from center to left. Carlos Gonzalez leading off for the Rockies. Gonzalez 0 for 3 this afternoon. That pitch just a little bit inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Both Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire, and Robinson Chirinos looking back toward the backstop. That hit something that sounded a little bit odd, like something broke.
Better than hitting them, that's for sure.
2-0 the count. Oh, it broke the brick back there is what they were looking at. That clank you heard was the brick breaking off. Sam Freeman could tell his grandkids, yeah, I threw so hard I broke bricks.
I think he might leave out the part that it was about a foot inside, past the catcher.
No, you don't need to tell him the whole thing. Kind of ruins the story.
It does, doesn't it?
3-0 the count. Now 3-1. Carlos Gonzalez, a .256 average. Sam back to the plate and misses inside, ball 4. Gonzalez draws the leadoff walk here in the 7th inning. Well, Sam, maybe only the one hitter that he's going to be asked to face today. Worked an inning and a third here night before last. And that's going to do it. So he was just going to face the one hitter, Carlos Gonzalez. He lost him on a walk. And the pitching change will be underway for the Rangers here in the bottom of the 7th. 1 on, nobody out. A timeout underway. We'll be back right after this. Leadoff man, Carlos Gonzalez, and now Keone Kella has come into the game to take over. You've got some right-handed hitters due up. Troy Tulowitzki will be the first that he is asked to face. First pitch, good fastball right down through there for strike one. Tulowitzki and Kella got to know each other a little bit last night. Keone worked an inning and had a strikeout. Got Tulowitzki to ground into a double play in last night's game. Here's the breaking ball, and that evens the count now at a ball and a strike. Tulowitzki today has walked twice, once intentionally, grounded to third, so 0 for 1, hitting at .315. This is Kella's third appearance on this road trip, once in Houston and once previously, as we mentioned, in this series. Breaking ball catches the upper reaches of the strike zone. 1-2. Martin Perez worked the first 6 innings. He walked 4 and struck out a couple. Sam Freeman came on to walk the only hitter he was asked to face. And now Keone Kella trying to work around that leadoff walk. High and tight, look out.
Nice pitch by Kella. Using both sides of the plate. And with a breaking ball the pitch before, then comes back with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in. Up a little bit. Back Tulo off the plate. Just to keep him honest.
Good pitch. Now the important pitch, the most important pitch of the at-bat is what you follow that up with. See what Keone comes up with. Pretty good fastball. Got it up a little bit. Fouled out of play. Still 2-2. Rockies 4 runs on 6 hits this afternoon. This is a team that have been hitting .335 here at home in their last 11 home games. Rangers the last 2 nights with Matt Harrison leading the charge last night and Martin Perez here this afternoon have done a pretty good job of containing this explosive offense. Tulowitzki, that's about as defensive a swing as you will see a good hitter like Tulowitzki take.
That's the kind of swing you get when you've got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that you back him up with a little bit. Not sure which side of the plate Kella's going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
See the Fox tracker and the pitches basically been staying away. Had one fastball 96 miles an hour up and in.
Got him on the fist. Tulowitzki not going to let him get inside that time.
No.
Hooked that inside pitch.
If he's going to get beat, he's going to get beat away, not in.
Well, that Fox tracker they just showed you, the old baseball axiom, high and tight, low and away. That works for everybody. Pretty good examples of that. 7's a little bit different, but the other 6 pitches, high and tight, and pitch up and in. The rest of them trying to be low and away. And that's been good since, the 1850s. Fouled straight back. So Tulowitzki having a pretty good set to with Keone Kella. One on, nobody out. We play in the bottom of the 7th inning. Sun now peeking out just a little bit from the clouds. Cloud cover starting to be a little more widespread. Pretty good range of velocities in this at bat. Got him swinging. Good breaking ball, and Tulowitzki saw a fairly good arsenal from Keone Kella that time. He has gone on strikes, 1 away.
It's a great piece of pitching by Kella. Working him down and away. A couple of pitches or one pitch up and in. Breaking ball down. Tulo not sure what he's going to get, but he definitely cannot get out there hanging over the plate looking for something.
Now, you always hear about that concern about pitching in thin air, whether it's up here in Denver or Albuquerque or Salt Lake City or wherever, that the breaking ball won't break. Well, Keone Kela is showing you if you lower the sights just a little bit, you still get the same effect. Still get hitters off balance enough and over the top of that breaking ball to have it work for you. Nolan Arenado 0 for 3 today. Arenado also faced Kela last night and had similar swings to what you just saw.
You know, it's tough when you got a right-hander that comes in who's got a nice breaking ball but also has a little bit of cheese to go along with it. And can execute pitches, keeping that breaking ball down and away, and being able to spot that fastball, whether it's away or in.
0-1 pitch. Dropped in another breaking ball. 0-2. Yeah, and all it takes sometimes is that one pitch up and in, the one to Tulowitzki. The guy on deck sitting there watching that too.
You better believe it.
And all of a sudden it's in his mind, well, he may not exactly know where every fastball is going. And that's going pretty fast.
You know, and I don't care who you are. You don't like to get hit with 96, 97 mile an hour fastballs. You just don't. And it goes a long way. And I've always thought and felt that every now and then when a guy throws that hard, every now and then you hit somebody. Not necessarily, you know, all the time or every time you play somebody. But if you hit a guy every now and then with a fastball, nothing around the head, back him up a little bit, it nips him, everybody on that bench is going to know that. And it doesn't feel good. So you put something in the back of their minds.
Little calling card, up and in. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. And again, that's pitching for effect right there. Now, what do you follow it up with? What we've seen Keone Kela do is the last time to Troy Tulowitzki, followed up with another fastball up and then threw the breaking ball. Classically, you would throw him a breaking ball down and away here. Down in there.
And there it was.
Yep. And Arenado, that was just a little too far down and away. Not quite close enough to entice him to swing.
You know, even though, you know, I'm sure Arenado's probably following along with Kela's, you know, pattern right now, but just because you know it's coming does not mean that you can hit it.
Yeah,
it helps, but if a pitcher executes his pitches, there's not much you can do with it.
Yeah, and that variation in velocity, too, that's 11 miles an hour just from the breaking ball to the fastball, along with the location, that's doubly tough. Runner on the move, payoff pitch is chopped to Beltre. Easy play for Adrian, that's out number 2. Gonzalez down to second. He's in scoring position with Willeen Rosario coming to the plate. And before we tell you about Rosario, we're going to send it back to Rick Renner for a Mazda game break. All right, Rick. Yeah, they're making a push for the trade deadline. No, that's the wrong way. Rosario is 1 for 3 this afternoon. Had an infield single and scored a run back in the second inning. Rangers leading 8-4. Rosario takes strike 1 from Kela. Rosario getting his starts mainly against left-handed pitching for the Colorado Rockies. Ben Paulson, who was the hero in the walk-off here on Friday night, or I should say on Monday night, getting most of the starts against right-handed pitching. Going down to third. Now the throw is high, and Chirinos was saved by Beltre, who went up the ladder to snare that throw.
Beltre showing his leaping ability. Breaking ball down in the dirt, gets away from Chirinos. Comes up throwing, slipped a little bit on the throw. Not much of a chance to get Gonzalez going to third.
A wild pitch. Gonzalez now 90 feet away on that wild pitch. 0-2 the count to Rosario. Kello back to the plate. Got him swinging. 3 tough pitches. Rosario is a statistic. The Rockies gone. No runs, no hits. The Walker left stranded. On to the 8th. 8-4 Rangers. T-Mobile. This comes from Tony. And, great snapshot there, Tony. Thanks for sending that along. If you folks want to tweet your photos to the strongest fan photo, just use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan, and your photo might be selected to be aired during one of our upcoming broadcasts, just the way that Tony's was today. Again, that's all brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile. Christian Friedrich back out to the hill. He will start the 8th inning. Shin-Soo Choo, Robinson Chirinos, and Leonis Martin, the first 3 hitters. Rangers leading 8-4. They have out-hit the Rockies 7-6. Rangers again using the long ball and the extra base hit. Rougned Odor with a home run and a triple, each driving in 1 run. Choo has a base hit. Drove in a run back in the first inning. 1 for 3 today, and he takes ball 1. Choo now at .236 with the average. One ball and 1 strike.
Choo's been doing a good job this second half, the few games that he started, beating that shift, hitting the ball on the button, and driving it through the infield in most instances. Some pretty tight holes to hit through.
Part of it, we talked about it here on Monday night too, the speed with which the ball gets through the infield and through the gaps. You'd almost have to play your infield deeper to have a similar outcome as you would at normal elevation.
Yeah, you really do. The ball just scoots here on this turf. If you hit it hard enough, it will definitely get to the wall in these gaps, these large gaps.
2-2, the count to Choo. High and away. And the count is now full. So Choo trying to get aboard to start the Ranger 8th. Robinson Chirinos, the Ranger catcher, in the on-deck circle. Call, strike 3. 3rd time this afternoon that Choo has been called out by Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire.
Choo's been caught looking the last, or actually all day long. This one, Choo's got a really good eye. Fox Tracker's got that one being a ball.
Yeah.
It's a tough call.
Well, 1 gone. That is the first strikeout for Christian Friedrich. And the pitch to Chirinos outside for ball 1. Chirinos has struck out a couple of times today, 0 for 3. all 3 of his previous at-bats against the starter, Jorge De La Rosa. Slow breaking ball for strike 1. De La Rosa worked 6 innings, even 5 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned. Couple of walks, 8 strikeouts. And a base hit for Chirinos. Taking it right back up the middle. Robinson with his first hit of the afternoon. Now before Leonis Martin comes up, catch you up on the Rangers' upcoming schedule, brought to you by Progressive. This will finish off the series here in Denver. Off day tomorrow. Rangers will enjoy that down in Anaheim, and they will take on the Angels on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon before coming back home. Long homestand. Yankees in for 4, the Giants for 3, and the Astros for 3. Finishing out the July portion of the schedule, starting the month of August. Leonis Martin 0 for 1. He came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and flied out. Stayed in the ball game, taking over in center field. Like Friedrich was straddling the rubber like he was going to start from the windup.
Yes, he was.
And somebody on the Rockies alertly said, "Hey, wait a minute here. We got a guy at first base." To center field, that ball's hit well, but Stubbs back with room. Handles that, and back to first goes Chirinos. There are 2 outs. The wind now blowing in from left field. We mentioned the variable wind conditions here in Denver, and you get the downslope winds and the winds off the plains and blowing all different kinds of ways. And wind blowing in just as Martin hit that one, so it got knocked down a little bit. Timing is everything. You pick when the wind's blowing out to hit a high fly.
Got to play the elements.
Well, 2 outs, and with Delino DeShields up, Walt Weiss, Rockies skipper, is headed out to the mound. Got a right-hander in the bullpen, and we'll see if Weiss is going to make that motion to the pen. He takes the ball from Friedrich, and that is going to do it for the left-hander. So the pitching change underway once again here at Coors Field. Rangers leading 8-4 as we play in the top of the 8th inning. A timeout, and we will be back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Saw Canley here on Monday night. Worked against the Rangers, his 22nd appearance. No record, a 366 earned run average. The league hitting .239 against the right-hander. And he will be asked to face Delino DeShields with 1 on and 2 out. Canley 25-year-old right-hander. He was a Rule 5 draft pick back in 2013 by the Colorado Rockies. Originally in the Yankees organization. He's out of a Division II school, Lynn University. He was the Yankees' 5th round pick in 2010. So Kane Leon, Delino DeShields is 1 for 2 officially. He has been on base 3 times, a hit by pitch, and a walk, and he has scored all 3 of those times. When you talk about a spark plug, an igniter, this Ranger offense, that has been Delino DeShields to a T. Canely set for the first pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Delino 279 with the average. Canely on Monday night worked a third of an inning, gave up 1 hit. Check swing. 2 balls and no strikes. Canely, a very live arm that you can see has an excellent fastball, an excellent changeup. That combination, throwing in the mid to upper 90s with the fastball at times, can be devastating. But you can tell one of the drawbacks that faces Canely is the ability to throw at strikes.
Yeah, that makes it difficult when you're throwing that hard and you can't throw strikes, especially when you're coming in late in the ball game. The one thing your manager wants you to do, throw strikes.
3-0 to DeShields. And he hit that one right at the top of the strike zone. 3-1. Just barely, but it was there, and I would imagine you see Delino probably taking another pitch here. As good as he has been at working the counts. Nope. Instead, lined it. LeMahieu up and plucked a base hit out of the air, taking one away from DeShields. Delino a little disappointed about that, but the 8th inning comes to a close. 7.5 in the books. Rangers 8, Rockies 4, Fox Sports Southwest.
more good innings in the books. Well, the Rangers will have a lot better off day in Southern California tomorrow. They are off tomorrow. They're back on the field on Friday. AT&T Uverse reminds you that it'll be Prince Fielder and Albert Pujols, a couple of heavyweights, slugging it out on Friday night. It's a 9 o'clock start on Fox Sports Southwest. Rangers Live comes your way Friday night at 8:30. Guys, back up to you.
All right, thank you, John. Well, Tanner Scheppers is the latest Ranger to come out of the bullpen and take over here this afternoon. Scheppers appearing in his 34th ball game. We saw Tanner here on Monday night. Tough luck loser in that walk-off Rockies win. Scheppers, 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 hits and a run and 3 soft singles that did him in. Well, 2 soft singles and 1 fairly well-hit base hit by Ben Paulson to win it.
Yeah, he made some pretty good pitches, but the Rockies were able to dunk him in, get the first couple of runners on.
Drew Stubbs leading off for Colorado here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 8-4, Rangers on top. Stubbs today 2 for 3. That is wide. We go back through this series now. The Ranger bullpen has really pitched well. They've worked a total of 8 1/3 innings to this point. They've allowed 4 total hits and 1 earned run. 7 strikeouts, and the make that 8 now as Drew Stubbs called out on strikes by Dan Bellino. 1 away for Nick Hundley.
Shep trying to go down and away with that hard breaking ball. Bounces it. Stubbs couldn't hold up.
So Scheppers gets the strikeout. Nick Hundley, 2 for 3 today. RBI single. That was back in the 2nd inning. Singleton scored in the 4th inning. One ball and no strikes. Tanner, the 28-year-old Southern California product. He headed back home along with all the other guys who grew up in Southern California. There's a drive foul down the first base side by Hundley. 1-1 the count. Scheppers came in Monday to get the final out of the 8th inning and then gave up a single to Tulowitzki to start the 9th. Stubbs pinch ran. Carlos Gonzalez had a base hit. And now this ball driven deep to left center field. Off the bat of Hundley. Back is Delino to Shields, and that ball's gone. Nick Hundley with his 7th home run of the year cuts into the Ranger lead. It's now an 8-5 Texas advantage. First home run that Tanner Scheppers has given up. That's the middle of June.
Pitches inside off the plate. Hundley got a hold of that one. Shep knew it. Hundley knew it.
Well, that's the 5th home run now Tanner Scheppers has allowed this year. Brandon Barnes, the next hitter, takes high and tight for ball 1.
Delino going back. Thought he might have had a play.
Fastball for a strike. 1-1 to Barnes. Barnes 0 for 2 this afternoon, although he has reached on an error and scored. That was back in the 4th inning. Also flied to right field. Pretty good breaking ball from Scheppers, and Barnes completely fooled. 1-2. A .291 average for Brandon Barnes. Out of play. Still a ball and 2 strikes. The bullpen, again, now just 2 earned runs in their 8 2/3 innings. Both the runs given up by Tanner Scheppers. One on a home run today and the other The walk-off run given up on Monday night. Chopper foul. We will try it again. Monday night, the bullpen, 4 1/3 innings of work, only 3 hits. Last night, 3 innings, only 1 hit. And that ball hangs inside. 2-2 the count. And today, 1 1/3 innings, 1 run and 1 hit. Jeffers with a 2-2 pitch. It's all the way to the backstop. And then all the way back out to the mound.
See if he got another piece of the brick back there.
I think that was above the brick, wasn't it? Payoff pitch on the way. Lost him. Barnes down in a hole in the count and worked it for a walk. 1 on, still just 1 out. Charlie Blackmon has a bat in the on-deck circle, and he's going to come up as a pinch hitter. Well, the Rangers have used their one left-hander that they used a lot, Sam Freeman. Still have Wandy Rodriguez in the bullpen, another left-hander. I'm not sure that Jeff Bannister would bring Wandy in for his first relief appearance as a Ranger in a situation like this. Blackmon steps in, hitting at .293. A dozen home runs, 42 RBI. Time call. Shepard's taking a little too long for him. One on, 1 out, 1 in for the Rockies. 8-5. Rangers on top here in the 8th. Blackmon going after that first pitch. It's out of play. Blackmon, normally the leadoff man for the Colorado Rockies, going to get part of a day off today. He got most of the day off. Lines this one to right center. Leonis Martin reaches up at the last second and snares it. That ball almost got over his head. Quick reactions by Martin as that ball carrying further than the center fielder thought. Fortunately, fairly long arms and a real long glove.
And a little bit of leaping ability. Blackmon drills this ball straight away center field. Leonis almost misplayed that ball. Glad he brought the long glove out today.
No, a very important second out. Barnes staying at first, and it takes the Rockies back to the top of the order. DJ LeMahieu. And Shepard's able to drop that breaking ball in for strike 1. LeMahieu, a hit in 3 official trips. He's also walked today. He's extended his hitting streak to 13 straight ball games. That was with the 4th inning single. Browns one the other way by Odor into right field. Around second, headed for third is Brandon Barnes. And now the Rockies are going to have the tying run coming to the plate in the person of Carlos Gonzalez. Mike Maddox is going to intervene and head out to the mound. Well, LeMahieu is inside outing that ball. We talked both last night and on Monday, Mac, about LeMahieu's desire to hit the ball the other way. And that's a pitch that most guys can't hit the ball the other way.
No, they can't. You know, LeMahieu, the book on him is hit the other way, and right now Odor is still playing up the middle a little bit. The ball just gets by him.
Mike Maddox out there to slow things down, make sure Shepard is okay, and that he and Robinson Chirinos have a good idea of what they want to do with Carlos Gonzalez. Sean Tolleson is getting ready in that Ranger bullpen. Carlos Gonzalez got the second of the 3 hits in the 9th inning here on Monday night against Shepard. Not a hard hit ball, but he looped it into center for a base hit. He's up now 0 for 3 on the afternoon. He has reached last time up on a walk. Sam Freeman was brought out of the bullpen to start the 7th inning and face Gonzalez, and Carlos drew a walk to open that frame up. That was the only hitter that Freeman faced. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. Ball 1 is outside. Gonzalez a .250 average with runners in scoring position this season. Both his overall average, which is .256, and that average almost historically low for him. That ball's belted to right field. It is gone, and we have a tie ball game. Carlos Gonzalez with his 14th home run of the year, a 3-run blast, and the Rockies have caught the Rangers.
Shepard fell behind a very dangerous hitter. You know, Gonzalez has one thing on his mind. Shepard's trying to go away. Right down the middle. Gonzalez gets that extension. There's a rocket out of here to tie the ball game.
Well, 2 home runs in the inning. The game tire from Carlos Gonzalez. A couple of men on, and that line drive just kept right on going. Halfway back in the lower section of seats in right field. Well, an 8-8 ball game. And Troy Tulowitzki takes strike 1. Tulowitzki 0 for 2 today. He has walked twice, grounded out, and struck out. His pop foul had him on the fist, and Tulowitzki now down in the count, 1-2. Coors Field has not been kind to Tanner Shepard. Suffered the walk-off loss on Monday night. Came in this afternoon with a 4-run lead. Gave up a solo home run to Nick Hundley. Then a walk to Brandon Barnes, and that really set the stage for some problems. So Mayhew with 2 outs singled, and Carlos Gonzalez took him deep. Still 1-2 to Tulowitzki. Jeff Bannister on the phone, and I don't think he's calling out for pizza. He wants to find out what's going on in the bullpen. Breaking ball, call, strike 3. Tulowitzki couldn't pull the trigger, and Tanner Shepard gets a strikeout. But it's 1 hitter too late as the Rockies come back to tie the ball game with 4 runs in the 8th. On to the 9th we go, 8-8 the score. Rockies, who now find themselves in a tie ball game. John Axford, their closer, has come out to pitch the 9th inning. Axford had a blown save on Monday night. He ended up getting the win as the Rockies came back to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning. Axford in his 31st game of the year. A 260 earned run average. Opponents hitting 219 against the right-hander. And Ben Paulson has come off the bench to take over at first for Willeen Rosario. Paulson will be hitting in the 5th spot in place of Rosario. Rougned Odor leading things off for the Rangers here in the top of the 9th inning. Odor just a double short of the cycle here today. He takes strike one. Odor, a bunt single in the 1st, a home run in the 2nd, and a triple in the 7th. And no team in history has had cycles in back-to-back games, and of course Shin-Soo Choo had that cycle last night. Almost had 2 in 1 game last night, as Delino DeShields was just a home run shy of the cycle. Odor now down on the count, 0-2. Rougned with a 3-hit afternoon, a 268 average. Fouls that back to the screen. Adrian Beltre almost got decapitated.
That's a dangerous spot right there on deck. I never really liked facing the field when I had a hitter that was facing me.
Yeah. That ball's lashed down the right field line, hooking into the corner and going foul. Now, we came very close to having another cycle.
History.
Wow. You know, it's kind of a cliche, a euphemism, if you will. Hitters always say when they're getting hits, they're seeing the ball well. That thing's got to look like a beach ball to Odor right about now.
A floating beach ball.
Still 0-2. Got him on the fist. Arenado in a hurry, slides, can't quite get there. Nolan Arenado shading toward the hole between short and third. Had a long way to go. And putting the speed brakes on with the slide. Still no balls and 2 strikes. Axford okays the sign. The right-hander is ready. And misses high. Axford, 32-year-old, born in Ontario, Canada. Full-time closer for the Milwaukee Brewers for the better part of 4 years. 2-2. He had a high with 46 saves in Milwaukee in 2011. Also has spent some time with the Cardinals and in Cleveland and also in Pittsburgh. Now toiling for the Rockies. Working in a tie ball game here in the top of the 9th inning. Set for the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Odor trying to get aboard with the go-ahead run for the Rangers in the 9th inning. Adrian Beltre will be next.
Odor putting together a very tough at bat. Fell behind 0-2 to Axford. He's worked his way back to 3-2.
Axford with the payoff pitch to Odor. He'll try it again. Rugden making him work, that is for sure.
This will be the 10th pitch of this at bat for Odor.
Fox tracker showing you a scattergun approach from John Axford. It's all over the place.
Wonder if that's by design.
I don't know. Only Axford knows for sure. Another 3-2 to Rugden. High and tight, and Odor draws an 11-pitch walk. How about that? Leading off the ninth inning of a tie ball game.
Nicely done by Odor.
A 1 on, nobody out. Adrian Beltre now will come to the plate. And Monday in the ninth inning with 2 outs, Adrian Beltre tied the ball game. Leonis Martin scoring on that ripped double. That was the second double of the night for Adrian. Matter of fact, it was his second consecutive RBI double of that night. Up here with the go-ahead run at first, nobody out. He was trying to duplicate that, maybe go 2 bases more.
Yeah, I don't think that was a double swing there. A double swing. Got the pitch he was looking for. Just a couple of feet too high.
Yeah. Yeah, our Fox tracker's showing you that that's about a 3-rung fastball. Have to go up that ladder 3 rungs to get to it. 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Axford, that game on Monday, came into the game and walked the leadoff man. And that was Leonis Martin batting leadoff. Then got 2 outs to Shields and Odor before intentionally walking Prince Fielder to pitch to Beltre. And that's when the double off Beltre's bat tied the game. 2 balls and a strike here. Rangers 8 runs on 8 hits. The Rockies 8 runs on 9 hits. Beltre waiting as Axford goes through the signs with Nick Hundley. Ground ball, base hit, right field. Odor going to round second, headed for third. The throw by Gonzalez not in time. Beltre gets to Axford again, an important base hit to right. The Rangers have the runners at the corners and nobody out for Mitch Moreland.
You know, that's great hitting by Adrian Beltre. He knows Axford's probably not going to try and come inside. If he's going to get beat, he's going to make AB beat him the other way. You see Hundley set up outside. You see Beltre shooting that hole. You've got the first baseman covering. That's professional hitting at its finest right there.
I tell you, that is something to watch.
Execution. Takes what the pitcher gives him. Knows that Axford's probably not trying to come inside again. The one pitch that he did get inside was an accident. And he was going to make sure that he stayed away from AB, but AB can take it the other way anytime he wants.
Well, here's Mitch now with the go-ahead run at third base. Nobody out. The Rockies are forced to pull the infield all the way in. Mitch has driven in 3 runs already today. A base hit, also a fielder's choice. He's 1 for 4. Axford with the first pitch, and Moreland checking his swing, but it's too late. Strike 1. Axford going first pitch breaking ball. Axford with that big curve that you just saw. Also a good cut fastball that he uses very effectively to left-handed hitters. Now a discussion at the middle of the infield and the battery for the Colorado Rockies. They're talking about their situations as far as what they're planning to do pitch-wise and where they should be positioned.
Yeah, that's exactly what they've got to get straight. And if the ball's hit up the middle, are we trying to turn two? Are we coming home to the plate? And all that depends on how hard the ball is hit and how far they have to go to get it. But I don't think Odor is going to be going on contact with nobody out.
0-1 pitch. That was chopped foul. Now Mitch down in an 0-2 hole. And Axford staying with the off-speed stuff to Moreland. Mitch with 49 runs driven in now. He is second on the ball club to Prince Fielder. And speaking of Prince Fielder, we look down to the on-deck circle. There's the big fellow with the bat in his hand. You knew he couldn't stay away from this.
No.
Tie ball game. 0-2 to Moreland. Got him swinging. Went up with the fastball. And that is a big strikeout. One away. And now here comes Prince.
Mitch a little anxious in that situation, trying to get that run home.
So Fielder coming off the bench to pinch hit for the pitcher spot. Tanner Shepard's hitting in the fifth spot of the batting order. Walt Weiss going out to talk things over with the entire infield and his battery. Well, there is a base open. It's second base, but sometimes that doesn't matter in situations like this. Tie ball game. You may not want to pitch to Fielder no matter what with a base open.
No, I really don't think you want to in this situation. You're second in the league in hitting. And you've got a right-hander on deck that will face the right-hander. And I think we're right, Buzz.
Yep. They're going to go ahead and intentionally walk him. Elvis Andrus is going to have an opportunity to drive in the go-ahead run, or runs, if you will. Prince coming off the bench, intentionally walked now. And it's going to load the bases up. Unless Axford throws one of these away. Seen that happen?
Yes.
Intentional walk, wild pitch. Matter of fact, I've been involved in one. That's not fun.
Oh, sounds like, firsthand.
Yeah.
It's amazing that some pitchers can't do that.
I couldn't do that to save my life.
So were you one of those guys who had to throw it like a real pitch? You had to throw it hard?
I tried everything. I couldn't find a speed, or it was beyond me. There's a fourth one to Prince, and that'll load up the bases. Beltry down to second.
Yeah, you were trained to throw strikes, not balls.
Yes, something like that. Mental block, mental midget, whatever apply to that. Well, the intentional walk now. The base is loaded. Here is Elvis. Elvis this year 2 out of 5 in these bases jammed situations with 5 RBI. He's got Odor at third, Beltray at second, Fielder at first. An 8-8 ball game, 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. Elvis today 0 for 3. He does have a sacrifice fly. That was back in the first inning. Axford with the first pitch to him. A high strike on a fastball. Back in the first inning. Sacrifice fly scoring Adrian Beltre from third. That was the third run of that 4-run first inning. Rangers would take that right about now. Axford checking the runners. The 0-1 pitch. Odor started this inning by working an 11-pitch walk against Axford. Adrian Beltre then shot one through the right side. A great piece of hitting. Mitch Moreland struck out on a high fastball. And then the intentional walk with runners at first and third to the pinch hitter, Prince Fielder. That has set up this situation. Base is full. 1 ball and 1 strike to Elvis Andrus. Out of play to the right. Axford, one of those guys that can get the fastball up to 96, 97 miles an hour, along with an excellent curveball.
It looks like he throws a heavy ball.
Kind of like trying to hit a shot put.
Bowling ball.
Elvis, 243 with the average. Now with 31 RBI, looking to add to that total. The 1-2 pitch coming. Rolled by Arenado into left field, a base hit. Odor scores. Here comes Beltre. He will score. Elvis Andrus, RBIs 32 and 33, and the Rangers lead it 10-8.
What an at bat by Elvis. Fell behind to Axford. Axford throwing 96, 97 miles an hour. Tough slider. Hard fastball. Trying to go down and away. Just a little higher than the other ones. Elvis gets out there, yanks it into that hole for 2 RBIs. The Rangers back up by a couple.
2 runs in the inning. Here is Shin-Soo Choo. Just trying to add a couple more with that swing. Choo hitting with the fielder at second, Andrus at first. And Elvis with his second and third RBI of the day. He has bookends on this game. Yeah. 0-1 pitch. Choo had an RBI single back in the first. Since then, he has struck out 3 times. All of them looking at the third strike. Still just 1 out. Rangers have regained the lead here in the 9th inning. Two balls and a strike. Sean Tollison ready and willing and able in that Ranger bullpen. I think he would just as soon not have a close situation. He will take it if that's what happens, but he would love to see a few more runs scored. The 2-1 pitch coming to Choo. 2-2. Choo a 235 average, as you saw with that RBI in the first. Now has 43 runs driven in this year. Fox tracker showing you Axford staying up just barely out of the strike zone. Right-hander is set for the 2-2. Just missed. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
.30 pitches by Axford here in the 9th inning.
Fielder away from second. Andrus away from first. Check swing and foul tip into the glove of Hundley. And Choo gone on strikes for the 4th time today. 2 outs. And Robinson Chirinos coming up. And Adam Rosales is going to come out of the Ranger dugout and pinch run for Prince Fielder at second base. Well, Fielder got an all-important intentional walk to load the bases right ahead of Elvis Andrus. Of course, Elvis delivering the key 2-run, 2-out single. Or 1-out single, I mean. Give the Rangers that 10-8 lead that they enjoy. Chirinos 1 for 4, having singled his last time to the plate. Axford, a long look in. Now the right-hander is ready. 2-0. This is getting to the point where Colorado skipper Walt Weiss is going to have to make a change if Axford doesn't get Chirinos. He's already up to 33 pitches. It's going to have to be 34 or 35. You don't want your closer working that hard in any one ball game.
No, this is probably going to be his last hitter, especially with the left-hander on deck.
There's a strike. 2-1. Chirinos batting at .221 after that 7th inning single. Axford to the plate, and it's 3 balls and a strike. Well, Axford having a real tough time here in the 9th inning. It all started with that leadoff walk. Odor working that 11-pitch walk to start this frame. Adrian Beltre shooting one to right. And the Rangers have been able to capitalize against Axford. Rugnet scoring that go-ahead run. Ball 4. That's going to load him up. Bring up Leonis Martin, and that's probably going to bring Walt Weiss out of the dugout. 3rd walk of the inning. One of them was intentional, and Walt headed on out to the mound. He had Boone Logan, the left-hander, in the bullpen. I'm sure that's who he wants to come in to face Leonis Martin. Well, the Rangers have regained the lead. It is 10-8, Texas. Boone Logan being summoned from the bullpen. A pitching change underway here at Coors Field. We'll be back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. The Rockies using their 5th man out of the bullpen here this afternoon. It's the 30-year-old left-hander Boone Logan. We saw here on Monday night. Logan appearing now in his 39th ball game. 0-2 with a .497 earned run average. Opponents hitting a lofty .272 against the left-hander. Logan will be asked to face Leonis Martin with the bases full and a couple of runs across for the Rangers. Ranger runners have Adam Rosales over at 3rd, At second, Elvis Andrus, and Robinson Chirinos is at first. Leonis Martin, who came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning, stayed in the ball game. He's 0 for 2, a couple of fly balls to center field. Rangers 10 runs on 10 hits here today. Continue to pound the baseball, especially in this ballpark, and it has been something to see. There's a strike from Logan on the outside corner. Logan gave up a run in his 2/3 of an inning, or his 1 inning of work, I should say. That was on Monday night. He has the advantage in the count here to Leonis Martin at no balls and 2 strikes. Martin's overall average at .216 now. And Leonis continuing to struggle. He's 0 for his last 15 times to the plate and hitting below 120 in his last 28 ball games. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Martin, with runners in scoring position, 1 for his last 21 times to the plate. You've got Rosales down at third, and Andrus out at second base. Trying to add on, Rangers lead by 2. Just inside. Like Martin was looking away, and Boone Logan came with that front door breaking ball that rang the bell but couldn't come in.
Yeah. Martin's jumping out there. Pretty close, maybe a little low. Ox Tracker has it as a strike. Martin's getting into that, looks like he's trying to press a little bit, jumping out there to get the ball.
Now the 2-2. Fouled away.
It's tough when you're scuffling, and it seems as though when you're a left-hander, every time you come up there's a left-hander out there on the mound that you're facing.
Fox Tracker on the bottom 2 corners, inside and outside, and right at the top of the strike zone. Now Logan ready once again. Got him swinging. That'll do it. Logan comes in to fan Leonis Martin. Rangers, though, take the lead. They get 2 runs on 2 hits and leave them loaded. Bottom of the 9th coming up. John Tollison will try to close out a 10-9 or 10-8 Ranger lead. you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer to kick off the summer right. Ford is the best in Texas. Sean Tollison on now in a save situation for him. He is 14 out of 15 so far this year since taking over back in the middle of May. Trying to close out this ball game against the Colorado Rockies, and he will face Nolan Arenado to start things off, who looks at strike one. Tollison worked an inning in last night's ball game, 3 up, 3 down. Arenado this afternoon, 0 for 4. Rangers 10 runs on 10 hits this afternoon. The Rockies 8 runs on 9 hits. Tollison's 1-1. Back to him, and he spears it. On to Moreland for out number 1.
Big out right there. That way you field your position. Tolly. I don't think that ball gets up the middle, though. Odor was playing Arenado to pull. But hey, you take Tolly fielding his position.
Made it a much easier play.
Yes,
I know that. So 1 out. And Ben Paulson with his first at-bat since taking over at first base. Paulson, a .288 hitter. As we mentioned, he was the walk-off hero here on Monday night. Pulls this one on one hop to Odor, who was shading him that way. Out number 2. Well, it'll be up to Drew Stubbs now if this 9th inning is going to stay alive for the Rockies. John Tollison will try to get the former Texas Longhorn to end this and send the Rangers on to Anaheim with a series win. Rangers have not won in 4 series. This would be the first win they have had in the last 5, and much needed going into Anaheim. Stubbs 2 out of 4 today, a pair of singles. Ball 1. Stubbs currently hitting at 182 with 5 home runs and 9 driven in. Out of play, a ball and a strike. Chirinos flashing the signs out. Tollison is ready to work. And another foul ball off to the right. 1-2. Martin Perez had the opportunity for his first win in a little over a year taken away by the Rockies, who came back to tie the ball game. Nonetheless, a very solid outing for Perez. Popped up, shallow right, going out Odor, coming on Chu, and Chu makes the grab, and that is a winner. It got a little bit hairy for a while, but the Rangers able to prevail as they get 2 in the top of the 9th inning to defeat the Rockies and win the series 2-1, 10-8.